And we're live on a Friday night with Ken Walls and Glenn Morshower. It's the Ken and Glenn Show. How'd I do?
It's not bad. Have you done voice?
I started a new tradition. Whenever I do well in life, you ready?
Yeah.
I reward you. It's a visual, Ken. You got to look. I reward myself with pound cake. Whenever I'm proud of myself, I just pound down some pound cake.
Oh my God.
So I feel like I did a quality opening and now I got some pound cake as a reward.
It was pretty good.
Do we have anyone here tonight?
It says there's
my prediction is that Ernest might be. Larry was first. There's Ernest. I missed it by one.
Look at that. Would you look at that? Have you seen that video of the guy walking around the car going, would you look at that? Would you just look at it?
Would you look at that? No, I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't? There's Jennifer. Jennifer Moran is awesome, dude. She freaking loves you.
Buddy, I just spent 2 golden hours with her the other night.
I know you did. I watched about an hour of your 2 hours.
But we did not sit and eat pound cake. I reserve that for you, my friend.
Well, dude, you have 2 world records now. One being you're the only, I don't know, you're a pretty big celebrity. You're the only pretty big celebrity that's ever flown anywhere to meet me and surprise me. So that, and you're now officially the only person to ever eat pound cake with me on a live stream.
Dude, 2 in a week, man.
You're knocking them down.
It's only 6 days later at 2 in a week. How's everybody's week? Hello, Robert Brooker, one of my all-time favorite people on the planet.
Robert
he always has something stimulating and interesting and thought-provoking to say.
He is a good dude.
And Jennifer gave a good interview the other day. She thought she was going to get off the hook and have it be brief,
Yeah.
She just was a misguided soul because she thought, well, these guys are being very nice and, I want to be respectful of their time. And so we'll do 30 minutes together or whatever. And then she opened up a whole can of worms and she was quite the host and we enjoyed being with her. And of course, any friend of Jim Gardner's is a friend of mine. And so we had a lovely time.
Well, Jennifer.
And hello, Jennifer. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We love each other, and so we just decided to go on live, and that's it. We don't even know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure it out.
Well, we're going to talk about this video that you haven't seen. I'm going to show it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to show it. Hey, Glenn, so we're not relying just on my celebrity power. Well, why don't you go ahead?
True. Just so you know, that is entirely true.
No, at this moment, why don't you go ahead and share this out? Pound down the pound cake.
I was pounding down pound cake and failing to do my job, which is to share it out. Okay.
Oh, dude.
Hey, but I am here with my Ken and Glenn mug.
I have 2 of them. I have this.
Ernest Odell has one, doesn't he?
He does. He is the only civilian.
Oh, well said.
Is that the right way? He's the only. He's the only guy besides you, Scott, and myself that has one.
We're in possession of a mug.
Coffee mugs, yeah.
Yes.
Should we sell them? I should throw them up on a web page and sell those.
We would sell them.
I think people would buy them. They're really great mugs too.
They are.
So
this is the first time. It's weird, and the idea is that you can have your mug with your mug. I love that my mug is on my mug.
Look, Ernest has his mug right there, man.
Hey, was I successful in sharing it out?
You were. It looked like you did it. Hey, you could share it out to. Nah, don't worry about it.
No, I'm going to share it out to my page.
You shared it to your page.
No,
Ernest is current.
My page. Now I'm going to share it to the Extra Mile page.
Oh. Yeah, that we'll get some. Hey, and by the way, anybody watching right now, even though we haven't really gotten to any kind of a point yet, we probably will at some point. Please share this out. Ernest said he's already shared it. Gabby wants a Glenn. She only wants Glenn on the mug, it sounds like, because she said, I want a Glenn mug. But see, the mug that we're talking about is the Canon Glenn show with a guy named Scott. That's the mug we're talking about. It's not just a Glenn mug.
Let Gabby know that my 61 years qualify me to receive both N's in my name.
Yes.
The second N is crucial.
She said, oh, wait, there's other options.
For my emotional well-being, I have to have that second N. Hey, Robert Whitner says, thank you most kindly, Glenn. Sometimes this translates to saying this on a live stream, but when I'm on fire with enthusiasm, this increases tying errors.
Wow. Is that like Freudian or what?
But I usually correct those as I go. I've been giving love away today like it's going out of style, resulting in a great deal of joy. That's delicious and delightful. You know, enthusiasm, Robert, you probably know this, but if you don't, you know the root of the word? So it comes from theos, you know, the Greek meaning God. So truly, to be enthusiastic is to, and I didn't make this up. I mean, this is the true meaning of the word, means to be radiating the energy or light of God. That's the meaning of the word. To be enthusiastic is a very, very elevated place to be. And that's why people are drawn to enthusiasm, because who wouldn't be drawn to the authentic radiance of God?
Totally agree.
So in theos, in God.
Charles Coachman just shared the video out, so thank you for that, Charles.
Are you? Is this a video you're going to show?
No. I'm prepping that. It's ready whenever
Robert
you're ready.
just said, yes, that is exactly how it feels. Well, true enthusiasm is to radiate the light of God. And again, I didn't put that spin on it. That's just the meaning of the word. And I think it's interesting that people drop the word enthusiasm into conversation all the time without recognizing its root meaning. Hi, Ken and Glenn. It was such an honor to hear you both on Kyle's IC Mastermind call. Such great wisdom. I had lunch today with Kyle.
That is, by the way, Dr. Amy Novotny. She's awesome, man. I mean, she is completely an awesome lady. So I got to show you. Let me show you this. Just
Hello,
part
Dr. Amy. Yeah, show it to me.
Let me show you part of this. Add to stream. Go full screen. Let me go over here and do full screen. Oh, snap. Look at that. Is it? Yep. Would you look at that?
Snap. Oh, look at that.
Oh, here we go. Ready? This is funny, man. This is funny. Here we go.
Oh, look at that. What are you wiping the windows? Oh, look at that. That's nice and shiny.
Oh, that's
a 78.
Yeah, looking good. Looked really good.
Yeah, it's got original paint. So
yeah.
Oh, look at that. Would you look at that?
Long Island, New York garage every day of its life.
Oh, go figure. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
For $700. It's real clean. You can work on it. It's whatever. The things are not packed real.
Right.
There's still a lot of room to work. So with that consideration, you know, I'll go.
You still do it.
Part that $700.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at that. You know, when I see a car like this, first thing I do is I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, would you look at this?
Yeah, well,
would you look at that?
Yeah, there's a few more blemishes on the car.
Oh my gosh, just look at
it.
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well,
what the heck is that? Oh, look at this. You got me running all around the car.
I love the white pants.
Yeah,
oh, would you look at that? Just look at that.
I can't pull it out either. I'd have to drill it.
Would you just look at it?
Yeah, it's sad. It's the only mark.
I mean, just look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, just get a look at that.
A cop did that.
A cop. Oh, where is he? I'd like to look at him.
Yeah, went over in front tried to fight it.
Yeah.
They told me we're not required to post warnings here in New Jersey.
Oh, would you look at
Yeah,
that?
like
Listen, I got pulled
state.
over in Jersey twice for not wearing a seatbelt in the passenger
Oh,
seat.
yeah.
In the passenger
Oh,
seat,
really?
and got a $40
Oh,
ticket.
yeah,
I
right.
said,
Well,
would you
see,
look at that?
The way they got
Would
no
you
tax
look at
base
that?
to generate.
Would you look at it? I was so mad.
Basically, they got to earn their money the old-fashioned
Yeah.
way.
Whenever a cop writes you out a ticket, the first thing you do is you take the ticket and you say, would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if I'd have done that, the cop did it, and I wasn't there that night.
Yeah. You should have said, look at this, and that would have probably got you off if you told him to look
Well,
at it.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I went over there the first time to
look
fight
at this.
it.
Yeah, you got to look at it.
And
Yeah.
the cop
Look at this.
wasn't
Yeah,
there.
right. Because he had to look at it first.
He didn't show up.
Yeah,
the
because he had to
first
look
time.
at it.
You know
Because
what
he had to look at this.
You know what the judge did?
He probably told you to look at it.
Postponed
Oh,
the
son of
case.
a! He probably had to look at it and say, "Look at that."
And I asked him the
Yeah.
second time I went.
And then he,
See,
yeah.
I figured I was just going to get off.
And then he
until
said,
the
"Look
judge
at it,"
told
right?
me.
And he said,
I
"Look at that."
And I asked the
Mhm.
cop, where
Yeah.
were you the last time? He said,
The last time he
"I
said,
got
"Look at this."
my guess is
He probably did that.
he
Oh, would you
didn't
look
do
at this?
he
Oh, would
did
you
it
look
with
at
the
that?
door of his
Would
ride
you look
or
at that? What an
whatever the
idiot!
case
Would you look at
was.
this? Oh,
The
look at
next
that!
day I go
Look at
out,
that! Look at
and
this!
I'd have to drill it out. I've tried getting under here.
Oh, would you look at that? You got
Well, my
under?
wheel-
Yeah, look at that!
Look
Look at that.
From behind
Look at that.
You can't do it.
Oh, look at this! Look at that!
Yeah,
look at
see,
that.
And if you tell that to the
Look
cops,
at that.
they're not going to give you any
Oh, look at that!
consideration.
You got to look
Would
at
you
it
look
this
at that?
way,
Would you
okay?
look
You just
at
got to look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
Yeah, I looked at it as right, and I see, you know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, sweet Abigail. Hi, honey.
Hi.
How's my sweet girl?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm lovely. There's a chance that I might even be excellent.
Really?
Really, I have nothing to gain by lying to you.
Yes.
You know, I'm having withdrawals being away from my precious Abigail because it's been almost a week now. It's been 6 nights.
Yes, I've been a bit lonely eating my tea and crumpets alone.
Right. That's exactly how I feel, love. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I'm sipping my tea in the rain.
In the rain. Why were you sipping your tea in the rain?
Well, because I'm sad. Because there's no one here to drink tea and eat crumpets with me.
Will you prepare crumpets for me when I come to town? When I make it to Ohio, would you greet me open armed with a plate full of crumpets?
Of course.
Of course, that's
And
lovely.
maybe a jug full of tea.
Oh, that's lovely. You're so nice. You're so beautiful, and it looks like you just had a shower. Am I right?
I did. Yes.
You look like you just emerged from under a cavalcade of water.
Dude, I told her she could come and say hi to you real quick. I
Just
said, but you have to take a shower first. And she may have taken the fastest shower she's ever taken. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. The entire nation is looking, going, learning that you're quite the Brit, Abigail.
No, but thank you. I mean, even though I was born and raised in America, you know.
When you drove away, be honest now, when you drove away the other night, were you smiling?
Yes, I was.
Were you glad to see your Uncle G?
Yes, I very much was.
Did you like when I completely extracted you from the automobile and put you in my arms and gave you a squeeze?
Yes. I loved the hole in the bottom of the sea.
Oh, you like that, huh? You like the song that I sang to you on the
Oh,
back porch
yeah.
of the chicken restaurant.
Yes, I did.
How was that? How was that chicken, you guys?
Oh my gosh.
See?
It burned a hole in my stomach.
it ate a hole in my stomach.
Just like it made the hole in the bottom of the sea.
Have you been practicing?
The hole in the bottom of the sea. Have I
With
been
an audience live. There she is. There's my sweet Abigail.
There they are.
That's last Saturday night in Nashville, Tennessee.
That was so incredible.
Yeah, it really was.
It was really, really beautiful. Hello, Greg. Yeah,
Greg,
she does an amazing. Greg Parton, my buddy from Los Angeles, originally from Delaware, and we know each other.
Ohio?
We know each other from Delaware, and from another friend, Lee Irving has a studio there in Newark, Delaware. It looks like Newark, but it's pronounced Newark.
Newark. Okay.
And there's a university there, and so that's where Greg and I met. And then a few years later, he reaches out to me and lets me know that he's going to be moving to Los Angeles, and he
Wow.
trained with me there. And hello, Ryan. Nice to. Yeah, her accent is amazing. You would swear that she's a little Brit, and she's not. She's an entirely born and bred American girl, 10 years old, just turned 10 this week. And we met up in Nashville last Saturday night. We had a big surprise on the side of the interstate that they knew nothing about, hence the term surprise. And the family pulled up, and the only one that was in on it was Jill.
Oh my God.
And that was a wonderful thing.
That was incredible.
Was Kenda in on it? Who all was in on it? Just Jill?
So
I think Kenna knew about it, but she
Did
didn't.
you know about it, Abigail, or no?
well, so my mother knew about it. Like, she's the one who like was like in on the whole thing, who did like the texts and stuff. But then she like told Kenna, and so Kenna like had to keep it a secret. So Kenna was helping my mom like set it all up. Like.
Can you talk like you're from Ohio?
No. Well, I mean, I can, but I don't want to. Like,
It turns out, Daddy, that I'm far more interesting this way.
yes.
Tell him what
If you don't mind, I'm chatting with the tea and crumpets guy right now.
Yes, I am. I'm chatting with the tea and crumpets guy.
Have you ever even seen him in any of his movies or TV shows?
I have not, because whenever I
Sad.
because you were watching a movie and you said, "Oh yeah, Glenn's in this," and I'm like, "Well, can I watch it?" And you're like, "No, it has blood in it, so I can't really see his movies if you won't let me."
Wow.
It's like he won't
Thanks for
let
stopping
me.
by, Abigail. Night night.
Abby, say this to your dad. Repeat after me. You ready? Just say, Daddy,
Daddy,
I've got to be honest with you.
I've got to be honest with you.
Uncle Glenn's career,
What? What is
Uncle Glenn's career
Uncle Glenn's career?
is really not that important to me.
I am not repeating that. No, sir. No,
Oh,
sir.
that's
I'm not repeating that.
That's so funny.
Can everyone watching understand why Abigail is just my new heartthrob? She is my sweetheart. She's my hero. I am so proud of her. I look up to her. I admire her, and she has such great energy. Just
I don't
great.
want to you.
Listen,
Oh.
my love, I'm going to give you a life lesson right now. There is nothing more important than love. And there's no gift you can give the world. And I'm not saying this as a joke. I mean this. There's no gift you can give the world than the gift of being fully alive.
That's right.
And you are so alive. You will never need a foreign substance to make you more alive. You won't need to rely on someone's popular opinion of you to make you alive. You will just tap into who it is you are already.
What do you
I want you to always remember the energy you've been gifted with, because you're really, really dialed in. And that's why I adore you. I love being around your energy.
Thank you.
You're gonna make a big difference in this world, young lady. Big difference. You already are.
Thank you.
Just make sure that everyone you know eats plenty of tea and crumpets.
Yes.
Well, they can't
Actually,
eat the tea. They should drink the tea and eat the crumpets.
Yes. They shouldn't eat the tea. That's just no. But a lot of people, they don't like my energy. They think my energy is too much. And so not many like people. I mean, I'm saying I do have friends, but some people, like people at dance and people like school, like they tend to stay away from me because I have too much energy for them. Because someone at dance, she's very calm and quiet, but me, I'm the total opposite. And then so that's why they don't like me, is because
So let me ask you.
much for them.
I'm going to ask you an honest question now.
Okay.
Are you able to deal with them not liking you without it hurting your feelings? Are you okay if they don't like you?
Yeah, because I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of people who like back me up if something happens.
Oh,
But
nice.
But if something like if they say something like mean about me, and it's gonna go around to everyone, and then eventually someone's gonna tell me, and then I'm eventually gonna know. So I don't know what the point is of not liking me if you know I'm gonna eventually know.
And this is one of the extreme joys of bashing someone's face in.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
You know I'm playing.
Thanks for stopping by, Glenn.
You know I'm
Because
playing.
whenever
You better not.
Because whenever I say, "Oh my gosh, like this person is making me so frustrated, I just want to smash their face," my mother's like, "Don't talk like that. That's so rude. We don't talk like that." And I'm like, "Well, guess what? I'm getting angry at this person, and I need to let out my anger somehow. I'm not just gonna go scream in my pillow because that's very awkward. I mean, I don't want to be awkward, but I mean, like, how else am I going to let my energy out? I just want to let that person know that I am very angry and annoyed with them, and I want them to change that attitude right now.
Pronto. Can you say that word with me? Pronto.
Pronto.
But and to say pronto, which is a Spanish word, to say that with an English dialect is just incredible. But here's the deal. May I take this a little further before?
Almost got to meet Yasmin. She was in Nashville.
She was in Nashville that same night.
Yeah, she stood us up.
So, the lesson. Hi, Yasmin.
Hi, Yasmin. I'm sorry I missed
The
you.
lesson that I want to offer you, my young sweet friend, is
Is he talking to me?
people, and I actually don't think you're too young to hear this. I really don't.
Okay.
People give up their entire lives chasing popular opinion, where they wind up sacrificing, you know that word, to sacrifice. They sacrifice who it is they are in order to become who it is they think others want them to be. And this winds up being the single biggest regret that people grow old with.
Yep.
Is that they realize they never paid attention to who it is they really wanted to be most, and instead they shaped themselves and who they were. They designed their life based on what they thought would leave others feeling comfortable. And the problem with that is you'll hit a mile marker in your life where you wonder why you ignored you. You'll wonder why you ignored you. And I have this feeling that you will never go through that, because you are already richly developed. You know way more about who you are than the average person knows, not only at 10, but at even 18 or 21. I mean, you're a really, really, really mature young woman. And I think it's going to be a blast to watch you grow up.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean it.
I have people like that at school. Like, they don't love themselves and they try to be one of the popular pretty girls at the school. And then they're just like, "Oh my gosh, you should totally do this. You're going to be so popular." And I'm like, I don't want to be popular. I don't want to be surrounded by these total strangers in my school. Be like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." Like, I want to be my own person. I want to have my own space. I want to be known as a normal person. I don't want to be known as quiet or annoying or popular or pretty. I just want to be known as a normal person.
So who did you learn that from? Or is that just the way you've always felt?
That's just the way I've always felt.
True story.
So there's not a specific influence
No.
in your life that shaped that? Well, good for you, honey.
Well,
Mommy's.
Good for you.
yeah.
And
Well, I look forward to making it to Ohio so that we can continue our in-person friendship.
I'm
And
very
then listen, then here's the deal. Then I'll start working with you on some of the other accents that are a possibility, and that can make you genuinely annoying to the entire human race. Okay?
Okay, so this might be a little weird, but guess what? Everyone is a little weird. I was practicing that accent in the shower.
You were practicing that one?
Yes.
And then I'm going to take some time to teach you how to sound like this. And it's going to be a big time. We're going to have lots of fun. Right? We're going to do that one a little bit.
I practiced like a weird one.
And then I'm going to teach you this guy.
I've already been practicing that.
Yeah. You've been doing that one.
Uh-huh.
I can see you already talking out of the side of your mouth, which is great.
How do you do that with your eyes?
Oh, sweet girl, you've made my night once again.
Oh,
Thank you.
Did you see what Robert Brooker said? Robert Brooker said the best path to having what you want is the one where you help others get what they want.
It's true.
Right. And I know that Zig Ziglar really preached that endlessly.
Yeah.
It's so much. And basically we do we grow closer to our epicenter, our fullness of who it is we are by being of service to others. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
So we gotta take care of each other, Abigail.
Tell Glenn what you got today and how you got it. So what did you get for your birthday first?
Oh, so I got a debit card for my birthday. So
You didn't.
so I could like use my own money. I always tell my dad, I say, hey, can I give you this money in cash so I can get this thing online? And then he's like, no, I'll buy it for you. And I want to get stuff with my own money. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you so much. But like I wanted to buy stuff with my own money. Like I offered to buy with my own money. And then he's like, no, I'll pay for it. Apparently he doesn't want cash. So I got a debit card, and so I ordered a few things. So there's this.
Oh my God!
It's a skateboard, but it's small. It's like smaller than a skateboard, and it's more for like riding, like on the streets and stuff, like to like ride around and stuff.
Right.
I bought it with my own money. I had $170 on it because I put my own. Like I have.
You gave me the cash.
Yeah, I gave you.
Because I do like cash.
Yeah, sure.
So you gave me the cash out of
Okay.
your piggy bank. I put it on your debit card so you'd have some money.
Mm-hmm. And then so I got it. It was $96.
Woo!
Those darn
Nice.
taxes.
Nice.
Did you hear what she just said?
I mean, it was
About the comment about the taxes, yes.
It was originally like $86,
Oh my gosh.
and then those darn taxes decided
Welcome
like,
to the
hey, I'm
United
just
States
gonna go
of
ahead and
America, my love.
knowing her and go ahead and slip right into that order. But I got it. I got it today. I really, really like it.
Where is it?
It's in the garage. You want me to go get it?
Ask him. I've seen it.
Would you like
I
me to?
would like to see it.
Okay. I will be right back. Hold your horses, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
We're really hoping that she'll develop a personality someday.
Yeah, and I need to say this while Abigail's out of the room. If she
She'll be back.
I know she'll be back, but if she wanted to, you know she could do this in a heartbeat.
What?
If she wanted to act.
Oh, she
And
wants to.
And I would be her advisor.
She
And there's no rush, because I got to tell you, these kids, they get damaged if they get fed too much too fast.
Yeah,
But she has an effervescence about her
I know.
that is undeniable. I mean, I've seen people work to try to be this illuminated, and they're not. They fall miserably short, and she doesn't even try.
She does.
She really
Here
does.
she comes.
She's
Here
just
she
who she is, and it's beautiful. Okay, let me see.
Get over here in front. I turned off the camera. Get over here. All right, ready? Let's surprise them. Ready? Here we go. Get a
Oh
little
my
closer.
goodness.
Here, I'm gonna go full screen on us.
Isn't that a thing of beauty?
Look how beautiful that is, huh?
Wow. So now when you get on that thing, do you wear like elbow pads or knee pads or a helmet or anything?
For right now, I just wear a helmet?
She's standing on it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're going to be good the vast majority of the time, but the reality is that part of having a skateboard includes taking spills from time to time. That's not a negative
Well,
forecast.
Did you see what Yasmin said? She's tired of freeloading off of you, Ken. Is she human or a bot? I know.
No, that's funny.
I
I'll
know.
make this clear. I'm human.
Yes, you're a
The
human.
definition of being human is you pull your cheeks.
Hey,
Hey, Abigail.
Yes?
Uncle G's hugging you. Come here.
Okay.
I got my arms around you. I'm giving you a big hug.
Yeah.
Mwah. Mwah.
Okay.
Good night, sweetheart. Thank you for saying hi to me.
You're welcome.
good
All
night.
right. So keep the crumpets warmed up for me, please.
Don't forget
Yes, I
this
will.
and
I
your
will.
and your
But
bowl.
don't overcook them.
Okay, I will
Cook
not.
them at a very, very slow and low heat so that they'll be nice and warm, but not
Come up here.
done when I arrive.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Good night, sweet girl.
Say good night.
Good night.
Get. She's trying to do tricks. Pick it up. There you go. Say bye, everyone.
Bye, people.
Bye, people.
People.
Nice night or day, wherever you live.
Good night, baby.
Goodbye.
I love you.
Love you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. And you know what? I am not worried about the boys with her because she
Oh my God.
will grind them like a pencil. Like there will not be anyone get anything over on her. Nothing.
No,
She-
it's gonna be something. Can you throw that picture of Abby and I up there again? I want Yasmin to see it.
Abigail.
Yeah, so
I called her Abby earlier today, and she goes, Gail.
yeah, okay, I'll give her the full one. I call her Abigail, but
I know.
I stand corrected. I will make sure I say it in its entirety each time. But yeah, put that up there.
There it is.
Nice.
What
And
a
then
great.
can you show Yasmin our photo together? So guys, this was taken at the gas station right there on the side of Interstate 65. And right after the surprise, like minutes into the surprise, and she's still just glowing.
I am looking for the picture right now, and I have not
So
found
Greg, what I did is I flew to Nashville because I knew that Ken and his family would be driving through Nashville on their way back from Destin, Florida to their place in Ohio.
Yeah.
Interstate 65 goes right through Nashville, and I have a number of friends in Nashville. So I coordinated with Jill, Ken's wife, to meet them on the side of the road, which would be facilitated by her faking the need to urinate. And
That's
she apparently got an Oscar.
She was not faking urination needs.
Right. Well, you told me she went into the heavy breathing and that she really.
It seriously was unbelievable.
And this is the value of acting classes. This
She's
is the
never
value
been
of-
in one.
Well, I know, but I was just imagining that she was. Did you find our pic together?
I'm gonna find it. Hang on. Keep talking. I'm looking on my phone.
It's Friday night. What do you guys want to chat about tonight? Is there anything that is pressing?
Well, I titled this.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I did. I titled it.
Yasmin, are you in ATL? Or are you back in Dallas? Are you in Birmingham? Where are you, dear?
I titled this "How to Make Things Go Right in Your Life." Yes. Can you
You want me to shed some light on that?
talk about that?
Well, you know I can talk about that. I can
Oh,
talk about that endlessly because I really believe with every fiber of my being that life the vast majority of the time, so we're talking about in the upper 90 percentile,
Yeah.
the vast majority of the time, life is responding to recipes. And what we cook with, we cook up, right? So if we're cooking with a particular recipe,
Mhm.
then we wind up getting what that recipe produces. And so we really don't have anyone else to blame if we don't like what's being cooked up. Sitting around and hoping for a different outcome is arguably the single most pointless action to take, because it's utterly futile. It's a colossal waste of time.
Yes.
And it's a failure to believe that we live in a choice, consequence, cause, and effect world. So once you realize that you don't like the outcome or outcomes, plural, of your life, then put on, and I'm not joking, I really want to help somebody tonight. I'd love to help a lot of people, but if we even help one person, put on, stop right where you are if you don't like the outcomes. Put on the nearest metaphorical oven mitt, open your personal oven of your life, and pull the dish out that you're not enjoying eating, and start fresh. And go look at a cookbook, talk with others who know, and I don't mean a literal Betty Crocker cookbook, I mean a life cookbook.
Yeah.
Become friends with or acquaintances with people who are cooking similar or identical things that you want to cook in your life. And if they've been successful at it, ask them how they did it. Let them speak with you about it. That's a great shot.
I have the other
At
one.
the end of the day, you have the shot of us together. At the end of the day, you can't ask them to cook it for you, because it's up to all of us to cook our own lives, to cook our own recipes. And then you have a certain amount of say-so in terms of designing your life. Did I tell you, Ken, that I thought up the name of my next book this week?
Yep.
I thought up a great title, and the title is Assembly Required.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. Sadly, there are so many people. I don't even like the expression saying this about people and this about people and people are this way, but it is a great truth that many were not downloaded enough empowerment. They weren't downloaded enough. They were downloaded weakness.
Yep.
And they weren't downloaded the urgency and the importance of designing your own life. You know, and if you really think about it, the vast majority of people out there, the largest percentage, are living their life. And while that's fine, and I'm not knocking that, but if you're merely living your life and nothing else, there's a really good chance that you're not getting the exact results that you want. So I think there's more than living a life. I think it comes down to designing your life and specifically assembling your life. So, you know, we see these packages that say some assembly required. It's not some assembly. It's
Right.
massive assembly required. And it doesn't come with a set of instructions. So the first part of life is going to be about exposing yourself to people who can teach you valuable lessons. And also there's going to be a tremendous amount of trial and error. A tremendous amount. You're going to have to get bruised. You're going to have to get cut and probably bloodied a little bit somewhere along the way. And some of us that are a little more stubborn wind up bleeding even more during our lesson learning. But the truth is that when pain is associated with a lesson, there tends to be a severely elevated retention, right?
Yeah.
So if things come too easy, this is problematic. And we don't need to lock and load on the lesson. But if there's some pain that we experienced by making a choice that was not something that worked out, I frankly am thankful for the pain. At the time, I understand that it hurts, but pain can and will change your life.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of pain, but I am a fan of what pain does. And pain incites change.
It
You know,
does.
comfort is basically never why people decide to change. People don't just go, I'm really loving things. I'm so comfortable. I should change that. But when there's a lot of pain in someone's life, when the pain gets to a point where it's unbearable, then they're forced to make a change. And changes are brought about based on the recipes we use. So we need to get back in the kitchen and prepare a different dish to put in the oven. It's just absurd to be cooking brownies, and in the middle of your brownie outing, you're looking into the oven going, I sure hope this turns into chicken fried steak.
Right.
Because it's not going to, ever.
No.
And it's a lot of time wasted on something that's not going to happen. So
I got it. Hey, I got to share this. It keeps kicking it off. So
did
I
I
got
all
to share
the
this.
way through to get to the point where you can share it?
Huh?
Okay, there's that one. What about hours? There it is.
And there's the second one.
I love those shots.
I know.
And the lighting is exceptionally good. And we even did a commercial for Exxon. Look at the logo there in the upper right hand
I
corner.
know. We need to hit them up for some sponsorship.
Sponsorship, baby. Sponsorship.
Yeah.
There's Jill.
There's you and Jill.
Yeah, I think we need to talk with Exxon about sponsoring our show.
And the chicken place.
And there's Kenna.
What was it called? Hattie B's?
I think that may be right.
Yeah, I think it's Hattie B's. Let's see.
And she's got on her Destin, Florida.
Yeah.
sweater, little hoodie. I like that.
And that's the video, but you won't be able to hear it, so I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, we call that shot A Man and His Straw.
That was you doing the hole in the bottom of the sea.
Oh,
And
is that
there-
what it was?
There you are dancing.
I'm dancing with my Vans tennis shoes that Yasmin suggested I own.
I know.
Yeah, she arranged for those to occur in my life, those Vans tennis shoes. And that's Cat Hill
Yes.
in the background. Right.
And that's-
We love Cat, who lives in Memphis.
love
She's a singer-songwriter there.
Cat is amazing.
And she was my partner in crime, my co-conspirator, who told me, that she would be happy to drive me over to the rendezvous point. And that's
dude, it was so awesome, man. So awesome. Incredible.
Gabby said, how much weight have you lost? Well, it depends on since when you're referring to. 2 years ago at this time, I was lighter than I am now. And then I gained back a little bit and have now lost a little bit. But my weight's really right, pretty much where I want it to be. I could stand to drop another 5, but, that's so easy. I think as long as you're within 10 pounds, one way or the other, you can adjust those things by just knocking off the French fries.
Yasmin
He says as he just shoved a pound cake down his mouth.
Yeah, right. These are looking like paparazzi pictures now.
Oh,
That's
am I
funny.
rocking the Vans, Yasmin? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, Ralph. Nice to see you. Tracy, nice to see you there.
Tracy's right up the street from me. She lives in Arizona, but her daughter lives in
Well, she's saying hello from the Detroit
Yeah.
area.
yeah.
Are you visiting Detroit, but you live in Ohio?
No, she lives in Arizona.
Why is she saying hello from the Detroit area?
She's visiting her daughter in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
She's a great lady.
I love Ralph's comment about alchemy, turning lead into gold.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
Wow. So when things are going, we talk about programming a lot. Have you ever read or listened to the book
Hello, Lorraine. What book?
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker?
I've read even excerpts from that book.
It is a phenomenal book. I literally just started reading it again because it's just a great book. It's an amazing, and it's all about the programming, the blueprint that we have in our minds about not just money, but everything.
Sure.
It's a great book. Her daughter is having a baby.
She wants to know if they can meet up with you this trip.
Yeah, we've got to do that. We have got to do that for sure.
Oh, Pamela. Hello, Pamela. Hi, sweetheart. She said, I just picked that book back up too.
It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I will post it though. It's such a great book, man. It's a lot. I read it many, many years ago, and I like to reread it just for a refresher because it's all man, it is the power that we have in our brains that people do not recognize. They do not realize they have this unlimited amount. I talked about this the other night, and I think you watched it. It's like, what makes you or me or whoever different from Bill Gates and or Oprah or whoever when it comes to the financial end of it, right?
Right. And what do you think the difference is?
It's something in the brain, for sure. It's something in the mind. It has nothing to do with them being more intelligent. I don't believe that. I just do not believe that. Have you listened to Mark Zuckerberg speak?
Right.
I'm kidding.
May I offer what I think the difference is?
Please. I'd
Between
love to hear
people
it.
who are absolutely living their dream life. And this is after a lot of research, Ken. This is not something somebody said to me. This is just my own chronic opinionitis that I have formed after loads of evidence over many, many years. I think that people who are incredibly successful have one, well, I'm sure they have many things in common. And if we tracked those, you would see them.
Yeah.
But one glaringly obvious thing that they have in common is that the notion of settling for anything less than the fullness of their expression is unacceptable to them. And I consider myself to be one of those people. That is, it doesn't upset me. It's not acceptable. That's a page that's been removed from my playbook. That page where it turns out that you don't fully step into the purpose for which you were created. That page got torn out of my playbook a long time ago because it's truly not okay. That's not okay. And I think the extent to which we make it okay paves the road for it to wind up being that way. That when we make it okay to have our life just, kind of turn out to be whatever, just hey, whatever. I didn't outswim 500 million sperm for a hey, whatever life. Now, if someone else did, that's fine. I don't have an opinion about what someone else should or shouldn't do with their life. That's entirely their business. And I mean that. I don't try to download my sense of urgency and drive upon others. But I have to embrace it for myself because I happen to think that my creator had big things in mind.
Yep.
And I don't think that anything more grandiose was imagined for my life than yours or anybody else's on the street, but my relationship with original intention is where the difference might be. So I have a profound relationship with what I esteem to have been my purpose upon the date that I was created. I have a really, really developed relationship with that original intention.
Let me tell you when I and I mean this in a completely heterosexual
sort of way.
When I fell in love with who you are as a person and it was before, I don't know that we had met yet. I think I was on this live stream with you and you started telling this story. And that's when I was like, this dude gets it and I freaking love him. And do you want, I'll tell you next week. Never mind.
It's Friday night. We have nowhere to be.
Dude, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You're like, don't do that. Don't leave me hanging.
Well,
By
me
the way,
and anyone else, there might be 2 or 3 other people who'd like to know the end of the story.
the end of season 2 in The Resident was a bunch of bull crap. Just gonna put that out there. Okay, so the moment that man, it just hit me was when you talked about when you're teaching your students in your acting class.
The Extra Mile Acting Workshop, yes.
You say, how many of you went to Hollywood? I forget how you word it. Seeking
No, to pursue an acting career.
pursue an acting career. And you say,
I say that I'm convinced the reason it went so well for me in Los Angeles is because even at 18, I did not move there to pursue an acting career. I moved there to have one.
right. See, it's people don't get that part of the whole equation. All of these, like the Secret, unbelievable, great book, great movie. It's a great, great lesson. But there's more to it than just sitting around like, okay, I'm going to attract this. I'm going to attract this. It is setting the intention. And that's what you talk about a lot. Setting the intention. It's more than just saying, man, I sure hope I can attract, 50 grand a week or whatever it is that you're in search of, because it could be, I want to attract a new BMW. It could be, I want to attract a new, but you have to set the intention. And when you said that, because you say in that spiel where you talk about that.
Oh my God, you even pronounced it like a good young Jewish man.
In your spiel.
Your spiel.
In your spiel, you say unequivocally 100% of the hands went up. They all were there
100%.
pursuing a career.
Right. And I say, and that's the problem. So
That's
if you came here looking for me to help you pursue your dreams, I'm the wrong guy. I'm the guy that's going to help you claim your dreams. I'm not going to have you pursue them because I don't want you to pursue them. There's not a big future in pursuit.
Yeah.
There's such a key difference, Ken. You've heard me say this before, but pursuit is a word people use when the good part of them expects to not catch it. So that way they don't have to commit and they casually say, well, it's just something I'm going to go out there to try to pursue for a while. And I ask them, I can prove to you that is language we use when we don't expect to achieve something, because when's the last time you pursued dinner?
Right.
When's the last time you called someone and said, do you want to pursue dinner tonight? No, what you say is, would you like to have dinner tonight? Because in your mind, that is an achievable outcome. So you would never say pursue dinner. Well, then what if you use the exact same language regarding your visions for your life that you use for the simplest of activities, such as I'd love to have dinner? Because
right.
I actually do hold the belief that a dream life is as easy to create for yourself as dinner is to create for yourself, unless you've made other plans. So if you've made other plans, meaning in terms of thought, or you've assessed a higher degree of difficulty to it, it's an old adage that it is done unto us according to our belief.
Yep.
So if we decide that something is difficult, then difficulty is what we get to experience, because that was the jar we placed it in. And if we decide that something is extremely doable, then I'm not necessarily talking about easy. What I'm saying is it's doable. And here's the mantra I love to teach people. Not only is it doable, but it's doable for me. Followed by, watch this. And we even add an expletive there. We do. But it's watch this. And it does work. It absolutely works. And then, you know what? The people who it doesn't work for, do you know that their common phrase, the people who it doesn't work for, what they all have in common is this phrase. They cross their arms and they go, Yeah, well, it's not that easy.
Right.
That is how they greet this kind of information. They've already decided in advance that this is going to need to be difficult, if not impossible. Or they'll say, well, that's easier said than done, which is one of the biggest lies in the world.
I had somebody walk into, I showed you pictures earlier of the home that we were living in, which we live in a beautiful home now, but the one we were in before was just amazing. And somebody, I'm not going to mention names, but a family member walked in and looked around our house from the front foyer and says, how many people live here? I said, me and Jill and Abigail and Kenna, my oldest daughter, comes out once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And this person said, don't you think this is a little much? I said, go sit in the car. Get out of my house.
No, you should have said, get out of my large house. That would have been funny.
By the way, it's a very long
large
walk
house.
back to your car. But like,
That's funny.
you know, there's always people, and I think that, and listen, I'm listening to this book right now and reading the Kindle version of it at the same time.
Sure.
And not on cue. They're not, I don't have them, not on the same pace, because I'm listening to it and then I go back and I read what I just listened to, and because I really need it to, stick, because I wasn't brought up like many people. Like most people, we hear things like money doesn't grow on trees. What do you think? I'm made of money? Right? Did you ever hear that?
Oh,
Right?
we all did. Sure.
Right.
I'm going to lean forward to prove that my head is the same size as yours. When I sit back here, it looks like tiny little Glenn, and Ken's up here educating.
That's right. Well, I am. So, yeah. Oh, look, he's frozen. I'll have to remove him. Sorry. Yeah, your wire moved. It doesn't work. But anyway, so or you hear things like rich people. Oh, the rich are getting richer, or or the rich keep getting richer, or man, any rich person's out to get you. They're just out to grab your last dollar. And so we're brought up with these financial blueprints, and that's what he talks about in this book, and really goes into detail on it too. And I think it's so important for me. And I read that the first time, I'd say at least 15 years ago, I think. And I was like, wow, yes. Oh my God. Yes. That I have these programs, and my question for you, and I don't know if you've thought about this, I'm sure you have, knowing you the way I do. When you realize that you have this really screwed up programming that might be sabotaging you unconsciously, and you don't even know it, right?
Right.
You do know it, but you just don't know how to correct the course.
And you don't even know what you don't know.
Right. That's true.
Right.
How do you correct that course? How do you, because the only way I know is through writing, journaling, writing out affirmations, writing my goals and targets and things like that, and being intentional about it. Meditation, I do a lot of that. But the programming is still there. It's still there. How do you, because you still have programming, right? How do you circumvent that? How do you get around that or fix it or correct it?
Well, I think by admitting that there's a stench to your interior. When you see that your life is not producing the results that you want, or even more aptly put, that it is consistently generating results that you don't want, then you intellectually understand that there are reasons for that, and you get over any belief in bad luck.
Yeah.
You stop making that crappy excuse and just go, if it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. I know people who affirm comments like that. If it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. It's like, what a terrible thing to say. So I think it begins with the adult realization that we manufacture our own luck, and that it's probably time for an excavation. I mentioned this in this talk show that I did the other night with Jennifer, is that with regard to affirmations, a lot of people have been talking endlessly about the importance of affirmations over the years. And while I do agree that affirmations are good, I'll tell you why most of them don't work. Most of them don't work for this one reason. They can work. They have the capacity to work. And as Scott McKain so beautifully stated the other night on our show, that he really debunked the myth that knowledge is power. And he clarified that applied knowledge is power. Yep. I thought that was such a beautiful distinction, because just because you have power and just because you have knowledge, or knowledge, not power, but because you have knowledge doesn't automatically in and of itself equal power, but rather applied knowledge. So I think what has got to happen is why I said affirmations often don't work is because basically, and here was a kind of a crass visual that I offered the audience, but it's a lot like taking a poop-filled donut, like you could say a dog poop-filled donut, and dipping it in chocolate, right? So you're creating a sugary, sweet-tasting exterior,
right?
And it looks great in the bakery window, but as soon as they take a bite, they are not going to be a repeat customer in your bakery because of its creamy filling of dog poop. And to me, poor belief systems are the dog poop in the middle of the donut. So if you're going to make a new tasting donut that works for you, it begins with the removal of the dog poop. And I'm not saying this for a smile. I've taught this stuff at corporate levels for many, many years, that the first order of business is to become conscious.
Yeah.
The second order of business is to become a specific noticer of the things you wish to adjust. So you got to get conscious first. And then from that now conscious state, you have to look at what's working, what isn't, and why.
Yeah.
Seek the counsel of those people who know, who are more experienced in that area than you are. And they have to be people you trust. And then I really think it goes from there to an excavation where you go in and you start getting rid of everything. And now you question everything. So you're going to rip it all out, and then you're only going to reintroduce the belief systems that proved to be valid and that were accurate. And it turns out that they were truth all along. But I've met so many people, long since lost count of how many people I've known, Ken, in my life who were harboring belief systems that had been ineffective for 40 or more years. And they were carrying them around as though they were the truth. And what it is somebody handed them a belief system and or an opinion. It turned out it was never their own, but they always answered to it as if it were their own. And it was just somebody, something that somebody told them was so. And sadly, they devoted 40 years of usage to it. And now with this new approach, we can get rid of all the dog poop. And now when we dip our life into affirmations, chocolate flavored affirmations, now the whole donut tastes sweet instead of just the exterior.
What you're talking about is the driving force behind religions, politics, your political beliefs. That's why I hate politics, and I'm not a fan of organized religion, only because 99%, maybe I'm going too far with it, maybe it's only 97.8%, but the majority of
it's 98.3, but you're really close.
Right. So did you know though that 78% of all statistics are made up on the spot?
Yes.
So but I think that people don't realize that their religious beliefs and their political beliefs and so many other the look, it's like the toilet paper it has to come off the top, right? Even if I'm a guest in someone's house and I see it coming off the bottom, I will flip the toilet paper around. It makes me crazy. And I know why. It's not because of something that it's a childhood thing, something I was taught, but like it's now because of that. I don't know how to let go of that. I don't know. I could just be gone taking a pee and I look down, I see the toilet paper's on upside down. Like, nope, no can do. That thing's getting flipped before I leave this bathroom.
Hey, Ken, will you post Ralph Glass's comment? Primarily for anyone that's watching in the North Texas area. It says, before I leave, sorry for a different topic, there is a sandstorm that will be in North Texas shortly. Wear your mask outside, change your home's AC filters and your vehicle's air filters. The particular particles in this are very small and it can make you very sick. Love you all and good night.
What? Seriously?
I don't think Ralph's full of it. I think he probably has gotten hit.
Full of it. That's like what else? 2020.
He's got hip to some info about a meteorological condition that is headed this way.
About that.
And I was going to go with this cutting edge concept of staying indoors tonight.
Change the filter on your furnace. Do you have extra filters?
I do. I don't know if I do or not. I guess I'll find out when I look for them and they're not there. And then I'll go, I didn't, as it turns out. But I do want to change the air filter on my Infiniti anyway, so no point in changing it tonight. I was going to change it this week when I changed the back brakes, but I will just wait and let the dust storm pass through and then change the filter.
So, we call them haboobs here in West Texas.
Yeah, they get a lot of them out in West Texas.
Oh, do they really? The dust?
Yeah, but Texas is out there where that's like Haboob Central.
Yeah, but what Ralph is talking about, I actually saw it. It is barreling in like a ginormous, like a giant hurricane would. It's huge. It's coming across the Atlantic. It's insane. I saw a glimpse of it somewhere. I don't even know where.
So wait a minute. Are we dealing with Chinese dust? What's going on?
It's China dust.
But I mean,
I don't know.
The dust is making the trek across the ocean.
I believe so.
That's incredible.
Look, 32,000 feet of sand. Yes. That's incredible.
Oh, I've got to turn on the news. When we go off, I'm turning on the news because this is insane.
Here,
hey.
Why wait until then? Let's just look it up on.
Yeah, let's look at it. Sure. We have an informal outing here. Plus, this way we can be the news service for other people that are dialed in. Ernest says they had them in Libya as well. I want to go back. Somebody said something about X-Men First Class.
Massive.
You got them in Arizona, which I was aware of. I've been in a solid whiteout near El Paso where you couldn't see because the dust storm was so intense.
Here, let's I'm going to share.
Somebody made a comment and I missed who it was. It said something about X-Men First Class. Oh, there it is. Just watched X-Men First Class again last night and recognized Glenn. Well, thank you for watching, Brian. That was a good film. We shot that movie, the bulk of it in the UK, and then the pickup shots were done in Georgia, on the Georgia coast.
Now, does your wife go with you when you're overseas like that?
She did join me in London, and I was in London for 2 months, which was phenomenal.
Wow.
And I just found out yesterday that I'm going over to Wales for my birthday.
Wow.
In April of next year, I'll be in Wales. That'll be fun. Okay, so which one are we looking at, Ken?
Well, here's something out of Houston from 8 hours ago. Let's look at this.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tammy Rose live in Sky I-13 as we head back to Houston Hobby Airport. But on our way, we're getting all of that Saharan dust that we've seen over downtown Houston.
Jeez.
You can see low visibility in many spots. In fact, we can't quite make out Houston Hobby Airport right now. And that was pretty much the video that we saw as we traveled around Houston. A lot of landmarks disappearing right before our eyes. Visibility holding steady pretty much at 2 miles, but then again, in some spots, it was reduced quite a bit. As again, you can.
Well, you know, I can see one of the problems with this, Ken.
What?
That is actually
You realize that if it gets too dusty, they're not going to be able to see how to pull the statues down. You gotta have a clear view before you can execute that mission.
Wow.
Can you believe this world we live in? Oh my gosh, statues are being toppled now, right and left. And
They're going to take down the Christopher Columbus statue.
well, they were threatening to mow down Abe Lincoln tonight. Not the main one, not the memorial, but apparently there's another one.
The army is literally surrounding the big ones in DC.
Yeah, like the Jefferson Memorial and the Memorial, and
you will be shot dead if you.
well,
try that.
our president announced lengthy prison terms, and I
Good.
quote, for anyone who topples these famous statues. Lengthy prison terms await them, apparently.
Did you know? And dude, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. The Dixie Chicks changed their name.
Oh, got it. Because of the Confederacy implied?
Dixie, I guess.
Yeah.
They changed it to the Chicks. That's
I
it.
thought you were going to say they changed it to Dick Chicks. And I was going to say, really? Really? They did not do that. So now they're just the Chicks?
I love what.
It's not overly distinctive, is it?
I
Listen to Yasmin. You know, she's
right.
You know what she is? She is a top shelf human. There's not a shelf that's higher than the one Yasmin resides on. She is a cherished person in my life. And yeah, and that doesn't make it right, because I'm not campaigning for its righteousness, that period at all. But history is history, including the wrong. And hopefully we've arrived at whatever conclusions that are right via our awakenedness in the matter of what was wrong. Because I got to tell you, if we're going to start undoing the Cougars, that's fine. If we're going to start undoing everything that was out of whack throughout history, folks, we got a new full-time job.
Oh my!
Our new full-time job is called Undoing the Past, because it's terrible, and it's been terrible, and we've gone through generations of awfulness and unfairness and racism and ugliness, and it's all terrible. So let's get busy with what we've learned.
Oh my God, they're really changing the master bedroom from wow. I see.
I have not heard that. That's wow. It's now the primary bedroom. Wow. Well, you're going to have to get rid of your master class, Ken. You can't teach a master class.
I don't have a master class. I have an
But I'll take your primary training. When you start, I will. I'll take your primary training.
Is
that true, Yasmin? I don't doubt you, but is that hearsay, or is that something that you've learned from realtors around?
Wow.
Pamela says, amen, unity is the way to survival. Indeed.
I think that there are so many people looking for, and again, if you read Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles.
Mhm.
Can I grab it and read a little excerpt out of it?
It's Friday, and tonight it's merely the Ken and Glenn show. We can do whatever we want, and I think that's a great thing. And frankly, the people that are in with us, these are our family favorites anyway. I know, I'll speak on their behalf. I know they'd be into it.
Okay.
Reading something from Jack Canfield. For those of you who don't know, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Co-creator.
Like I said, co-creator. I think it slipped out as co-author, but you know what I meant.
It may have. I don't know. Who's
And hello, Roxy. You know, it wouldn't be life if it didn't include Roxy. Roxy is a part of all things.
Roxy she's awesome.
And
she's absolutely awesome. So
Robert Brooker has discovered that toilet paper is really useful, by the way, just a random comment.
This is it's got coffee spilled on it somehow. I've had this for a very, very long time. And I want to just read a little bit of the first chapter. And this is the very first chapter of the Success Principles. I believe there are 64 principles in this.
Ken Walls now reading about success principles. There are 64 of them revealed in this book. However, in the interest of time, Ken will only be reading about the first 63.
Principle number 1, take 100% responsibility for your life.
Atta baby.
You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. And that's a quote from Jim Rohn.
Nice.
And you just had lunch today with Jim Rohn's 18-year business
partner. I did. I had lunch with Kyle today.
Here I am reading a quote by the late, great Mr. Rohn.
Yeah, Kyle Wilson is the gentleman's name who I had lunch with today.
Kyle's a good dude. So one of the most pervasive myths in American culture today is that we are entitled to a great life, that somehow, somewhere, someone, certainly not us, is responsible for filling our lives with continual happiness, exciting career options, nurturing family time, and blissful personal relationships simply because we exist.
Mm-hmm.
The real truth, and the one lesson this whole book is based on, is that there is only one person responsible for the quality of the life you live. That person is you. If you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. This includes the level of your achievements, the results you produce. I'm going to say that again. The results you produce, the quality of your relationships, the state of your health and physical fitness, your income, your debts, your feelings, everything. And I won't go on, but.
Well, everything is a rather inclusive term.
But dude, here's the thing. When I go, oh, your statue offends me. I mean, I have a ridiculous amount of American Indian in my family. All right.
Okay.
I don't know the percentage. It's high. We have a lot of Indian in our bloodlines. I celebrate Thanksgiving. I actually eat turkey on Thanksgiving and celebrate Thanksgiving. The day that we celebrate the Europeans coming over and slaughtering all of my ancestors and stealing our land, and I still celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, there was a ridiculous amount of Indians that were captured into slavery as well.
Sure.
And I'm in no way am I saying that it was right or wrong or anything else. I'm just saying that people are looking for reasons to be offended. And if you look for reasons to be offended, instead of taking personal responsibility for your life, for you, you're going to find reasons to be offended. There are look, the death. I mean, here, the Jewish people really have the biggest reason to be pissed off. They have a big reason. 6 million Jews.
Yeah, show business is on, is shut down right now.
Thanks for stopping by, Ken.
And scene. And scene.
But I mean, I think we need to focus on, it's not going to be a statue of some dude from freaking 200 years ago that's going to destroy the quality of your life. That's not. And I don't care if you're black, white. It doesn't matter. I don't care what shade your skin is. It doesn't matter. When you take personal responsibility for your life and the outcomes of your life, life becomes magical. And it's very, very difficult thing to do. I'm a recovered alcoholic, man. I am a professional at blaming other people.
Well, you were.
I was, yeah.
You were. Let's not affirm that you are, but you were that.
Right. I was 1,000%. But you know what? The 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous that I went through, I literally had to, I hear people say, well, I had to relearn how to be a human being. No, I had to learn how to be a human being.
Well, it's not fair for the butterfly to be upset with itself for what it did when it was a caterpillar.
Thank you.
Its job is to fly and get on with life.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ken. Actually, you know what? I could just sit here and make the rest of the show be about agreeing with you. Like everything you say, I could just go, I agree, Ken.
You know what? That's the best way to diffuse an argument.
Yes. Oh, believe me, I know that one.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
You cannot have an argument.
This one. You are so right. You are so right.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Man, was I ever out of line. How about this? Between the two of us, I'm convinced that you know best.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with someone who just basically you're getting on your back and throwing your belly up and your arms up and just going, you know what? I don't want to go to war. I just don't want to go to war with you.
Cannot.
And can I take your thought further?
Please do. I'm going to give you the screen.
Well, you don't have to. Okay, I guess you do.
There. You got it.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to piggyback. So in the improv, we call this yes and, because I think you're entirely right. I know that you're right. And in addition to being right, I think what happens is the quest to find things to be upset about, which is not an uncommon quest in life. Those things that people are upset about, then having been located, which of course they will be successful on their mission to find things. The they is anybody, by the way. I'm not referring to a specific group. I'm saying that anyone who lives life this way. This isn't a comment about sexual preference. It's not a comment about religious preference. It's not a comment about race. It's not a comment about anything other than a prototype that seeks out things to feel awful about. And they come in all shapes and sizes and all belief systems. It's just a truth about our societal makeup. But what happens is I'm convinced that the reason that folks go in search of something to feel awful about is because then they can use their awful feelings as an excuse to not push through it.
Rationalization.
Right. So it's a rationalization for inactivity. It's a rationalization for not designing their dream life because, you see, I can't. And now I can't becomes the mantra. And the minute you say, well, why can't you? Now comes the laundry list of the things that they had gone in search of. And if that is not a preoccupation for us, but rather what is a preoccupation is saying a profound yes to the things we dream of most, with every ounce of our energy being determined by the urgency of the temporariness of life, then all of a sudden, we're kind of forced to get with the program. We kind of got to get with it. Because if you don't, what happens is eventually you see your first few liver spots and your first few wrinkles, and then you die.
Right.
Right? So there it is. Liver spots, wrinkles, and then you die. So if you haven't engaged and you start seeing liver spots, that's a cue, right? Look at your wrinkles. And instead of having a surgeon go get rid of them, be inspired by your own wrinkles.
Hey,
Be inspired. A redwood tree doesn't consider its own rings, right? Because you know how we determine the age of a tree, Ken, when you look in its trunk. It
Yeah.
doesn't assume that because it's older, something's wrong. It doesn't call the nearest tree surgeon to have it remove its rings, right? So we are so youth obsessed lately, and I guess for a long time we've been kind of a youth obsessed country. When if we could celebrate our wrinkles and celebrate our age spots and celebrate our wisdom,
Yep.
then I don't know. I'm not a fan of going in search of reasons to feel awful.
Can we talk about the elephant on the screen?
You like the guy from X-Files.
I think he meant you look like. Were you in
Oh,
X-Files?
you know that I was in the X-Files. I played Satan in the X-Files.
I did not know that.
You did not? Well, now you do.
Well,
you are
you
friends with
probably.
Ken. You are friends with a guy that played Satan in the X-Files.
I knew you had a devil inside of you.
Yeah.
So, Charles.
Charles is already making his funeral plans.
Oh, I love it. So you were in the X-Files. I didn't know that.
I
Glenn.
was in
Of
1998.
course you were. Name
In
one show
1998.
you haven't been in.
In 1998, I played the character of Aaron Starkey in an episode of the X-Files called All Souls. It was the 17th episode of the 5th season. How am I doing? And I this is all up here. I didn't stop to look at it. 17th episode of the 5th season called All Souls. And he was a social worker who was doing this to fool these people to keep them from recognizing that, in fact, he was Satan incarnate.
Wow.
And so that he could possess their souls. Anyway, it was a good job.
Wow.
And the check didn't bounce. So I've been paid to portray Satan. Look at Karen Toddy. I love my wrinkles. You know, I love people that love their wrinkles.
I love Karen. Karen is an amazing lady.
This is my friend Carolyn Chase from Salt Lake City. Look at her. Jack and I are still waiting to grow up. And they have been together forever. Right? Dear friends of mine in Salt Lake City.
Look, and in 24. This guy might know who you are, dude.
Yeah.
Agent Aaron Pierce.
Yeah. Did that.
I got
my newly defined version of me is that I'm the other half of tonight's show, the Ken and Glenn Show.
That's right.
With a guy named Ernest. Right?
Well, so
and a gal named Pamela.
The other night I was watching the Resident, and you play what's your name?
Marshall Winthrop.
Marshall, yeah. And you were it appeared for a moment that you were switching sides and you were going to become the bad guy. And I'm like, and Jill laid down with Abigail, so she was sleeping. And I saw that part where you called the CEO of that company. What was the name of it?
Quo-Vadis.
And you said, we need to talk. And I was like,
and you went, oh,
no, Aaron. I said, no, Aaron. I mean, Glenn. That was
very funny.
Because I didn't even know I'd never seen 24 before we actually became friends. So I'd never seen The Resident before we became friends.
Yeah, The Resident's a very good show. And we've got the start of the 4th season coming up here starting in August. It's not on the air in August, but we start filming it. Hey, there's our winner, or your winner from last night. In fact, we have 2 of the winners here. Ernest Odell also won. But Cindy, congratulations on winning the first spin last night.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yes. Cindy, it's
she fell asleep and just found you.
And Pam is saying, I'm learning to age gracefully. I won't mention her age. She can do that if she wants, but she still looks like she's 21. So
right.
she can't, she's not even, Pam, you're not even allowed to talk about aging gracefully. That's not fair. So just zip it.
But what if we just quit resisting?
Right.
What if we quit resisting our natural unfoldment and just embrace it and embrace that we were created to be these awesome creatures? When are we going to stop behaving as if we're not, Ken?
Can I
You're all
read
unrepeatable events in time behaving as if we're not? What's with that?
Scott Ricard won. He was the grand prize winner.
Is Scott with us tonight?
He's on right now. He says right there, I won last night too. So
Yeah,
I want to read the next paragraph. I left off, but I got to read this. This is not easy. In fact, most of us have been conditioned to blame something outside of ourselves for the parts of life we don't like. We blame our parents, our bosses, our friends, the media, our coworkers, our clients, our spouse, the weather, the economy, our astrological chart, our lack of money, anyone or anything we can pin the blame on. We never want to look at where the real problem is, ourselves.
Yep.
And when we're, the world has gone mad with this insane inability to take personal responsibility for their own lives, success, happiness, joy, financially or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Gitomer, who's a dear friend of mine. He's all about, selling and creating relationships and making those relationships grow. Grant Cardone, dear friend of mine, major sales trainer as well. Scott McCain, major sales trainer. Like, if you go to somebody that's a sales trainer and you say, my life, I'm broke, I don't know what to do, I really need more money, they're going to look at you and say, go freaking sell something. Well, I'm not really a salesman. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
They want to make more money, Ken. They want to tell you their story.
I know. They don't. People, that's the thing.
They want to tell you their wounded story. That is their primary plan.
Like, you're a salesman. I mean, you're really a salesman, because first you have to sell yourself on getting the role. You have to do that job, which means you have to go into character to get the role, to be hired, to be paid to be in a movie or on a TV show. And then you have to show up and continue to sell yourself by assuming the character that you have to be on that show. You're a salesman.
All very true.
And nobody's paying you. Do you get paid a salary whether you show up on a camera or not by some magical unicorn?
No,
fairy?
and when we don't work, right? If we go in and we don't book the job, there is no second prize paycheck.
No.
They don't say, you were the first runner-up, and we'd really love to write you a check for $1,000 because you were really close to booking this role.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of nothing, and then followed by ding, 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 ding. So I think you got to live with that mindset that you can't not receive your share. And honestly, without turning into a religious program, I really hold, and I know you're a man of faith too, I believe that as long as we are people of action and we are people of faith, I just have noticed an uncanny capacity for, as long as I'm doing my job, then that's my job. Meaning my job is to do my job. That's not viewed as extra. I don't get extra credit for doing my friggin' job.
Right.
I have to do my job. And when I suit up and show up to the best of my God-given ability, then I really believe that what's mine is mine. Yeah. And what's coming my way in my life is coming my way because I'm doing my part to receive it. Yeah. But if you look, there's so many folks that are complaining about not receiving. And then I go, okay, you ready for a really hardcore question? Hardcore question. Show me what your life looks like. Tell me about your life. Are you ready to receive it? What do you mean? Am I ready? Are you ready to receive it. So here is one example of this. I had someone dreaming out loud in my midst about not only did they want to do a movie someday, but specifically they dreamed of doing a romantic comedy in Paris. They were quite vivid because somewhere they'd heard, be specific with your visualizations, which I agree with. I support that.
So do I.
However, this person said, that's what I dream of. And I say, question. They said, sure. I said, you have a current passport?
Cricket.
Game over. So you hold a dream of doing a romantic comedy in Paris, and yet if someone called you today and said we start shooting next week, you would not be available. And here's the deal. The heavens know that. I believe this to be true, right? So if I may speak from my passionate place, I believe that we live within a very intelligent system called the cosmos, called the heavens, called the universe. And frankly, it doesn't really give a damn what we call it. But this system we live and move and have our beingness within is infinitely wise, and it knows what we are ready to receive and what we're not ready to receive. So when we're declaring our desire to receive, yet we have not made ourselves ready to receive, then Houston, we have a problem.
Well, but that would require effort. And what I want, Glenn, is I want somebody to say, hey, we have your passport for you. We have a private jet fueled up, ready to go. We know you've never taken one single acting class, but we would like you to be the star in our romantic, what'd you say, comedy? Romantic?
Yeah, what's called a rom-com, a romantic comedy.
Okay.
So if you ever hear rom-com, you'll know what that means.
We would like you to be the star, and we're leaving tomorrow. It's all done for you. You don't have to do anything. And that's where most people are. Well, what if I go get, so what if I go get a passport and I go through all that and I get a passport and I don't get the role? What if I take all these acting classes and I go through that for years and I don't get the role? What if I do this? What if I do that and that and that and that and I never get there? And I think that's where most people live. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. That's been my observation. I want to give credit where credit is due, which is something I really believe in, giving people credit. And one of my students, Eric Hansen, his response to this teaching was nothing shy of brilliant. And I want to share it with the audience tonight. And you don't need to be an actor to appreciate this. So when I offered this up of, are you ready to receive what you're claiming you want? Here's what he went and did. Not only did he update his passport, but he went and created a small suitcase that had everything he would need for an all of a sudden little or no notice trip that were to come upon him. And he leaned it up against his door. And to this day, he keeps it there. And Eric has generated the best 2 years of his career, because it's not just a game. It's not a silly little discipline that he's practicing. He actually has a daily reminder, it sits by his front door. Now, for those of you who really want to take this teaching seriously, if you want to go the extra mile with us tonight, I want you to play along and really get what's going on here at the deepest level. What he has done is he has set up for himself next to the front door a piece of visual evidence. We call it a suitcase, but in this case, it's serving as a piece of visual evidence that declares for him visually, hey, dude, I'm ready. Right? That's how he now feels about himself. Every time he looks at that, he said every time he goes out his front door, whether he's going shopping, he's going to the movies, whatever he's doing, when he leaves his house, he can't help but notice, or if he's standing in the kitchen and looks over the front door, there is that evidence that says you're ready at all times. So I'm asking you guys, here's my call to action tonight. What are you doing to remind you that you're ready for whatever it is you want to be ready for? And it doesn't matter, but you better get ready for something. In fact, that's how we get caught off guard in life, is because we didn't get ready for anything.
Nope.
Right? So think about what you want and then refine that list to what you want most, then refine that list to what outcome you want, and then refine that list to what outcome you want most, and start there and work backward. So what is the outcome you wish to generate, not only in the here and now, but with the entirety of your life? Like, why did I outswim 500 million sperm? What do I want to make sure I get done while I'm still breathing air? Because last time I checked, as of this moment, I am still here, which means I'm in a position to do something about it. So from that empowered position of still being alive, right, which gives us a real edge on accomplishing things here on earth, then what would I not be okay with not having done if it were to all end today? What would I have missed? What would I have left undone? What would I actually die regretting that I either hadn't done, or maybe that I had done and hadn't righted the ship through forgiveness, personal forgiveness? And I think it's just huge. And when Eric got clear that he needed to make himself visually ready, good night, Lorraine, then that's when things just took off, man, because he just thought, baby, I'm packed. I'm packed in the matter of my life. I'm packed. I'm ready. The phone rings. It's not going to catch me off guard. They want to send me to San Francisco tomorrow afternoon. I'm ready to go. If I get a job, I'm ready to go.
He's probably not thinking if the phone rings. He's thinking when the phone rings.
No, what I said, Ken, to be clear, was if it rings today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Meaning if it does ring today, but yeah, when it, of course, it's when it rings.
Yeah.
But this is huge. Is people dream, but don't do any kind of groundwork, right? And that's foolishness. If all you're doing is dreaming of having manifestations, this presupposes that we actually have a tooth fairy.
Good night, right? Lorraine.
And good night, honey. We've got to toil the soil. We've got to plant the seeds. We've got to make sure the ground is receiving water. We do have our part in manifesting things. And the tooth fairy is not how you manifest.
If you have a garage that's packed with a bunch of junk and you're wanting a new car to put in it, you need to clear the garage, man. You need to get it ready for your new car.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor.
I mean, and there's so many that we could use, but it's not some hocus pocus kind of, it's literally the energy that you're putting out to the universe, but it's also the energy that you're putting out to your subconscious, which is where you begin the attraction process. Right.
Have you ever noticed that your waiter never fills an already full glass?
Right.
Yeah, well, life works that way too.
Yeah.
Right? When the wait staff of life hovers over our lives, it takes a look at the level we have in our cup. And if it's full, you get passed by. And you're saying, I don't like this cranberry juice. Well, then dump it out.
Right.
And drink something else. But for God's sakes, do the world a favor and quit sitting around complaining about the awfulness of the taste of your cranberry juice. You're not making the world a better place. Politely go get rid of it and empty your glass to receive the juice that you do want. That's all. Stop complaining.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg says, boy, I missed that. Can you put that back up? Boy, do I miss our Friday nights, bud. I'm going to look through all my notes I took from you. Yeah, we had big gatherings on Friday evenings in Los Angeles for about 1.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. That's my dear friend.
That's awesome.
Greg. There were a bunch of us, man. We met every Thursday and Friday night to just love on each other and learn about life primarily and acting. What is Cindy saying?
That's so good to think about. I appreciate that. Only thing that I'm ready for is the rapture. I need other plans. Here's the thing, and I want to say this to Cindy. I want to say this to anybody that's in that mindset. Like, if you're ready for the rapture, it's probably going to come for you. If that's all you're focused on, you're probably going to be raptured before the actual rapture. I would focus on what you want to achieve and expand and create while you're here in your earth body on this earth plane. What do you want to do to impact other people, the world, in a positive way, instead of just sitting around? And I know a lot of Christians like that, I'm ready for the rapture. Excuse me. It's coming. I know it. And I saw grandparents of mine like that they're gone. There was no rapture unless I missed it and I'm screwed. Maybe that's why I'm still here. But like I think that you've got to get ready for your life while you're here living. Otherwise, your body starts to break down, your emotions start to break down, your finances break down, everything breaks down because you're not preparing for expansion and helping more people on this planet while you're here. My thoughts.
I think that's really, really spot on, Ken. And there's certainly more to life. And Cindy, we love you. We're grateful to have you as part of our family here in this show. But do recognize, my love, that that's not the only thing. This life matters. You know my proof for that? We're here.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, there are other things to add. I find myself not needing to add anything to that. That's sufficient evidence for me. The fact that we were designed, we were given a visit to the earth, means that this visit must have had meaning. That's my belief. I believe that it was important for me to be designed. It was important for me to spend time on earth, and I'm here, and I'm in no hurry to be done. And I actually accept the divine scheduling of whatever that is. And I don't know when my checkout time is from Hotel Earth, but I know this. I think it's really, really a good idea to find a way to have a very good time here. And I enjoy being here because I enjoy loving others and I enjoy helping others. And that brings me tremendous fulfillment. And frankly, I want to do that for as many years as God will allow. I want to become annoyingly old.
So I think, that there is, and I love what Brian's saying. I think, though, here's my thoughts on what Brian just said. And I think that, did you ever watch the movie The Secret?
Yes.
Okay, so Neil Donald Walsh.
It's the secret.
So Neil Donald Walsh, do you know who he is?
Yes, I do.
He's in that movie.
Conversations with God.
Yep, absolutely phenomenal.
How am I doing so far? Am I batting 1,000? Did I win anything, Ken?
You're doing great. I will send you a
spin the wheel and call my name, would you please?
Jim Rohn quote book. Hey, that's a good idea. Why don't I do that?
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Would you put my name in every slot so that I have to win?
When shower.
Yeah, put all the names here and do a giveaway. Put Carolyn up there, Carolyn Chase. Chase, Nancy, Ernest, Roxy.
Let me finish. May I finish my thought before we spin the wheel?
Yes, I apologize for the distraction.
I didn't realize I had Vanna White on with me tonight. I'm just playing. So he says in that, he says God didn't have this like chalkboard where he wrote Neil Donald Walsh, a handsome man. He says that. He says, my plan for him is blank. And God has, he said, God doesn't have a plan. We determine that. God, I think that God, this is my personal opinion. I don't think God has an ego issue. Number one,
Nor insecurities.
none, zero.
Right.
And
nor a hearing problem.
right. And I think that God is just love, man. God is love. And I think that for us to sit back and go, well, that's not God's plan for me. Dude,
don't get me started, Brother Ken, on that one.
You're 72 years old. What exactly do you think God's plan is for you then? Right? So I'm not saying you're 72, Glenn. I know you're not. I'm saying like
I will be at some point.
Right. You'll be 172. But like come on with it. So I think that we have to say, this is what I desire, and I'm going to write it out. There's Craig Duswalt is on.
I just saw that Craig said, hello, boys.
Hey, Craig.
I went to dinner with Craig 2 weeks ago tonight.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
2 weeks ago tomorrow night. Yeah, he came out with his wife, and he's got a couple of young men in college here, and he was there with all three of their boys and other friends, Mike and Rhea, good friends of his that live up in Frisco. And we had a fabulous.
Oh, Craig in Dallas?
No, he lives in Los Angeles, but he was here for a visit.
Oh, I got you.
But he's fallen in love and bought a home here. He's fallen in love with Texas.
Dude, that is in Frisco?
In Frisco. They'll be here. It's going to take a little time.
Dude, Frisco.
But, same thing. They're building it.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for it to appear. They came here and they built it.
Right.
They had a dream. They had a vision. They talked to a builder because Craig's not out there swinging a hammer. Right. But they came up with a plan.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting around in LA hoping, we're hoping, we're doing a lot of hoping. No, they got on a friggin' plane and came and made some plans and are building. And it's interesting. It's a lot easier to create a home that way.
And instead of living on hopium.
Yes. Oh, nicely done. I see what you did there.
You like that?
Yeah, that was smooth.
People are walking around living on hopium.
I think he wants to clarify they're moving to the colony.
The colony.
It's not just Frisco. It's an area near Frisco called the colony.
The colony.
Where we issue all of our residents their own backyard view of the golf course. He does. He walked me out his back door. He says, this is my backyard, which, by the way, is also a golf course. Trust me, Craigie's laughing right now. He's laughing.
Oh my God, that is.
I look forward to your visit, Glenn, someday when we'll go out there together and I'll have a chance to watch you sit and sunburn.
Oh my God. Oh, my face must.
Now the entire world knows why I never had a drug problem. I love opium. Oh my God, will I ever be using that?
Roxy says Abigail needs to chime in on the colony. Oh, that is so funny. Oh.
Yeah, so Craigie's going to become a Texan, and then we'll get you and Jill to move down here, and it'll be one big happy place.
There you go.
I want to go with a little more and explore this thing with Cindy.
So what I was saying before we went off on the Craig.
Well, you're the one that mentioned that Craig had written in. I didn't mention it.
I just mentioned it.
Okay.
To the golf course, dude. A British golf course at that.
Be careful what you mention because I may explore the tributary.
I'm just playing. So But I think that people are literally living on hopium, and they're walking through life hoping for things. They're hoping for they're hoping that someday they'll be able to build a house on a on a golf course. See, Craig, see, I screwed up. See, I took responsibility for that. And Craig is taking responsibility. He must have read Jack's book, because the very first one is take 100% responsibility for everything in your life. So, and he's not.
Craig owns his behavior. He's a good man. Right?
I know he is. So, anyway, I don't know.
He knows that most anything that's wrong with my life is also probably his fault. Which is great. So
it's not me anymore.
So can we explore something that Cindy said let's read. Can you highlight her latest post here?
Yes.
I've got plans. I'm going to Cali in 2021. My tamale business is waiting on my jalapenos, I guess, that are growing greatly in my garden. Is that true, or is that being said for fun? Are you really going to Cali in 2021? Are you moving? What are you doing? I don't even know where home is, Cindy. Where does Cindy live? What part of the country?
Know.
Oh, she's a Kentucky girl. Okay.
I mailed her prize this morning.
The bluegrass state. I love Kentucky.
I still don't get that, because I just drove through there the other day. I
didn't see any grass that was blue.
None.
Yeah, I think it's based on the way the clouds overshadow it and turn it a shade of blue. Yeah, okay. I just totally made that up.
Craig has read this book for sure. I knew that already.
So I personally believe, Cindy, that you are.
Dude, should we have Craig join us?
Sure, if he wants to.
If he wants. Craig,
Cindy, there's more not only awaiting you, my love, but there's more awaiting us through you. Okay? I want to repeat that. Not only is there more awaiting you than awaiting the rapture, but there's more awaiting us through you. Yeah, blessings that will be bestowed upon this world. Look, we're all gonna move on. Okay, we'll move on, but there's no hurry. We're here now, and there's work to be done and love to be loved. There's feelings to be shared. There's lessons to be learned. There's help to be given. Right? There's unity to be experienced. All of those things. There are apples to be eaten. There are slides to be slid down. There's grass to be rolled around in. There's dog poop to be smelled and dodged.
Yep.
There's clouds to be observed. There's children to be laughed with. There are people to be hugged. I mean, it's a never-ending parade of the beautiful things that are going on right now. And we can't live under this misguided belief that none of it has any meaning. It has meaning for now, and later will come later. But don't miss out on this beautiful opportunity to celebrate and embrace the here and now in this lifetime. We love you. We need you. We value you.
So stop waiting on the rapture. Be the rapture.
Oh, wow. Be the rapture. So says Ken Walls. So did you invite Craig in?
Tell him, Craig, if you're listening, we're not friends on Facebook for some weird reason.
I'm sure it's personal, Ken.
6,000 mutual friends.
Neither one of you have any room. Hey, you're the cat who said clean out your garage.
I did. I
clean out one box to make room for the great Craig Duswell.
Sent him a friend request, but Craig, I did send you a message on Facebook with a link if you would like to join us. And impart some of your wisdom on the audience, that would be great.
Thank you, Nancy Summers. Thank you, Carolyn, for saying what you said. Thank you for the support for that. But it's really about, and you know what else we got to do? We got to stop looking for our answers in someone else. you know, and we gotta stop assuming that someone else is on a pedestal and we're not. We got to stop with this low self-esteem crap. That's not what we were designed to have, you know. And if you believe that you were created by God at all, that's reason alone to shatter any feelings of inadequacy. You know how you look under pottery and you see it was made in China, or it was made in Taiwan or Malaysia, wherever it was made. If you look under your butt cheek and see that you were made by God, you'll stop acting as if you weren't. Right? And I mean that metaphorically, although some of you might actually have a tattoo under your butt that says made by God. I don't know. I don't think it'd be a terrible choice, but I really do. Here he is.
Whoa.
Here he is. He got his TCU cap on. Malaysia, wherever it was.
Let me get you
volume, baby.
You got Craig.
I got my TCU hat on.
Yeah, we see it.
All right.
Go Horned Frogs.
Go Horned Frogs. There you go. Bam, bam, bam. Got my Rock Your Life shirt on. Just happened to have that on, so that's a good branding thing I got going.
Did you just happen to have it on as soon as you heard you were going to do
it? Started down the hallway, ran into the bedroom.
No, I swear.
He was in another shirt, and he went and goes, honey, I'm going to be on with Ken and Glenn.
Nope.
Hey, somebody give me a TCU hat now.
I swear to you, I had this on. We just, we're staging our house right now. Guess why?
Because you're selling it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Glenn and I went to dinner the other night. It was wonderful. Ken, I've been following you for a while. I have no idea why we weren't friends. That is so weird.
That is very weird.
You noticed that?
You were going to be on my show, but I think life got crazy.
I know. I remember. Yeah, that's me. That's life got that. And then when Glenn and I went to dinner 2 weeks ago, it was so great seeing Glenn in Dallas. And
after dinner, allow me to show you my own golf course.
Yes, my backyard is a golf course, and I'm very happy and proud of that.
Awesome.
This here is my own set of sprinklers, and now shall we go enjoy the media room?
Yeah. And the LPGA is playing. I actually get my mic over here. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Sorry about that.
That's
the women's tour is playing. They play a stop on that golf course every year, so I get to see the women's tour
right outside your own back door.
Right. Yeah.
I love that,
Jeff. That's not true. I had this on. I swear to you.
That is so funny.
This house is like running around the house. Where's the Rock Your Life shirt? Where's the Rock Your Life shirt? Put it on.
So,
and have 4,000 people on the show. Get the shirt on. Hurry.
Dude, I don't think a lot of people that follow me may not know who you are, man.
Yeah, so let's have him tell us who he is.
Yeah, let's give him the screen. Dude, talk about those records.
I haven't shaved. Come on.
Dude, hold on. Look. I haven't shaved. Okay, like that's
And Glenn hasn't shaved in at least 2 days. You know.
No, there's a 7-day beard. I keep it every 7 days. But tell us about your albums back behind you. Guitars.
All right, let me turn off the TV. I should make this professional. So yeah, this is my Guns N' Roses. Anyway. That's my triple platinum album, and it says presented to Craig Duswalt to commemorate the sale of more than 3 million albums from Geffen Records for Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2. Those are their 2 last albums that they did while I was there in the 90 to 94. I toured with them. Well, I toured with them 91 to 93, but I worked for Axl after that.
Really?
I was Axl Rose's personal assistant babysitter, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I toured with Guns N' Roses for 4 years, and before that I toured with Air Supply for 7 years as the band's assistant. So
how's that for a double bill? Air Supply and Guns N' Roses.
I know.
That's a hell of a double feature, Craig.
Yeah, I know. And so after Guns N' Roses, I got married to my lovely wife, Natasha, and then Glenn and I did a play together, the last meeting of the Knights of the White Magnolia, and in a community theater, and the rest, as they say, is history. That's how I met Glenn.
Which, by the way, right now, if that play were up and running, we would have our heads pulled off like the statues are being pulled down.
Oh my gosh. Thank God we're not doing that play now. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And so then I, after Guns N' Roses, I settled down, became a speaker. I actually owned an advertising agency for a little while, and then I became a speaker. And Glenn and I share a lot of stages together, which is awesome. And he's been on my stage. I'm going to say I've done
A bunch. Let's go with a bunch.
Yeah, a lot. And
You know who Kyle Wilson is, Craig?
who?
Kyle Wilson.
No.
I had lunch with Kyle today and Mike Muni here in Dallas. You were placed on their radar today.
Oh, awesome.
Jim Rohn's business partner for 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah, Kyle is he's freaking awesome.
Is
Yeah,
he-
Kyle's based here in Dallas, and he was primary in Jim's effective marketing.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So he was really responsible for marketing Jim.
I would love to meet that guy.
He created this, sold 6 million copies of it.
Wow.
He created Zig Ziglar's book. He's done stuff for Brian Tracy.
Oh my gosh.
He's a great guy.
I would love to be honored to meet that person. And
You know what my favorite part of lunch was today?
what? Talking about me?
He paid.
Oh, you did.
I told him I was unemployed.
Yeah. Well,
Because,
he has a heart.
We haven't worked on the series since March, and listen, every little sandwich helps.
Yeah. What did you eat for lunch today, Glenn? What did you get?
We went to Corner Bakery where I had a lovely panini.
Ooh, you had a panini.
A lot more panini, please.
Did you have the panini?
And by the way, that's not the dialect. That's not the dialect. Hey, let me explain it to you. When you're ordering a panini, this is the voice you order a panini with.
Oh,
Yeah.
And do me a favor.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
hurry up.
You must be from Long Island, like I am.
Yeah, but I'll make sure you meet him next time you come back here.
Oh, that's awesome. We're going to be there in August next.
So what? Let's talk about Craig touring with GNR, man. Dude. You know that there is a world famous. Literally, it's 5 miles from where I'm sitting in Marion, Ohio. There is a world famous restaurant called the GNR. It's literally the GNR. And when Glenn brings you up here to visit me, we'll go to the GNR and you can say, hey, you're not going to believe this, but
I'll do a whole video series on it.
oh, dude. And so they're world famous for their fried bologna sandwiches.
Oh, geez, I would love that.
Dude, it's insane. It's
I
really
would love that.
But it's called the GNR. It's 5 minutes from my house right
That
here.
is weird. Where in Ohio is it? What's it next to? Like big city? What big city?
I'm about an hour north of Columbus.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm
How do you guys know each other besides dating now?
Well, just don't pass the buck. We'll tell you, but you got to make sure you tell him about Guns N' Roses. And then also, I'm going to put in a personal request. Since we've got Craigie on the show tonight with us, I want him to talk about what he stands for. I want him to talk about what's dear to his heart because he has a really, really beautiful heart. I want him to talk about what his priorities are, why he does his rock star program, and because it's beautiful. And what we all have in common is that we are here honoring a commandment from within to help others.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do share that. So yeah, tell them about Guns N' Roses.
My wife is calling. She has no idea that I'm doing this right now because dinner's ready. But I know we're eating late. It's 9:30 at night because we're in Ozark mode. I don't know if you've seen the show Ozark. I just finished Breaking Bad, and now we're watching Ozark. We like the uplifting shows in our house lately. Yeah, exactly. All right, Guns N' Roses. I toured with them for 4 years. I was Axl's personal assistant. I got the job because Doug Goldstein was the manager of Guns N' Roses, and him and I toured together with Air Supply. I was the band assistant for Air Supply, and he was the security guard for Air Supply. And he accidentally became the manager of Guns N' Roses because the manager of Guns N' Roses at the time had to go watch Van Halen for a week. And the manager said, Doug, can you just watch this new up-and-coming band? They're doing the Roxy, the Troubadour, stuff like that. And so Doug takes over just for a couple of weeks while he left. Axl loved him and hired him as the manager of Guns N' Roses because he is, like all of us, very heart-centered. He's a great person. He's a very good people person. And you would think like the manager of Guns N' Roses would be like this harsh, negative, in-your-face guy. No, Doug is a warm, kind-hearted person who is also looks like he's moving to Texas, which is kind of interesting. Fort Worth, to be exact. So then Doug calls me up one day and he goes, Craig, you ready to go back on the road? And I'm like, what do I have to do now? And he goes, you have to babysit Axl Rose. And I'm like, wait, doesn't he like go to jail a lot? He's like, yeah, but I'm going to pay you a lot of money. And I said, all right, when do I leave? So I toured with Guns N' Roses for 4 years. And yeah, I have a lot of stories. I have a book called Welcome to My Jungle that I wrote. And it's funny. It's not a tell-all book by any stretch of the imagination. It's funny things that happened on the road with Guns N' Roses. And so I have that book out there, and it sold a lot of copies, but I didn't promote it much because what happened was, and this is going to back to what Glenn just said, like, who am I? When I toured with Guns N' Roses, I was single, party, it was great, but I've turned into a totally different person since then. I'm a Christian. I've been baptized, reborn again type thing. I'm not a harsh Christian at all. I am a Christian that loves gay people. So I come from love. I don't judge anybody. A lot of my friends are gay, so I don't even go down that road. You know what I'm saying? I'm right in the freaking middle. So I'm that guy. But so when Guns N' Roses stopped touring, I just became a different person. I got married, had kids. I fell in love with Glenn Morshower and loved his, him and I did this play together. I joke about it, but he was a big integral part of my life about being this heart-centered, really caring about people. So I became that person. And then I wrote this book, and the world that I was in back then came back to me. And it was, and in hindsight, I wish I didn't write the book because I kind of opened Pandora's box to that other world. And I'm not saying it's a bad world at all. It was great and I loved it, but I'm just a different person now. And so writing that book, it's funny stories, but it kind of, opened boxes that I didn't want opened again. Yeah. But I moved on from that. I don't even promote the book anymore. I'm just telling you guys that it's out there, but there's a lot of funny stories in there. And I didn't, I get bashed on Amazon if you were to read the reviews because it wasn't a tell-all book. And isn't it sad that people want the dirt? They don't want the fun, nice stuff that happens. So they want all the dirt that Axl did. And I wasn't willing to write that book. So that's kind of answering both questions at once, kind of.
I used to work for a venue that my ex-brother-in-law owned here in Columbus, pretty big one, and a promotions company. And so I've been on some of the tour buses for Winger, Extreme.
Oh yeah.
Like
Gary Cerrone from Extreme.
I saw things on Extreme's bus that are forever burnt in my mind.
Extreme played at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Wow.
And I heard things that you saw.
Dude, yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like 21, 20, I don't know. And they're like, here, dude, you want to hit this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. Yes, but no.
Yeah.
I'm not. But
dude,
yeah.
I have stories that off the record I can share with you that would blow you.
Yeah. I'm sure, man.
So when we're at the GNR having our fried bologna sandwiches, bam.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's so.
I just love you guys, by the way.
How could you not?
I sneak in a lot. And watch you guys, and I think what you're doing is great. And the whole thing with Scott, who's a very dear friend of mine too. The three of you, you guys are awesome. So it's good stuff.
Man. Every Sunday night, my brother.
We need to. Maybe we should have Craig come on one night.
We can't do it until this Sunday because that's the earliest we'll be on.
I would love to do it this Sunday. I do have to run because I have to eat dinner. But yeah. I'd love to come on with the two of you and Scott on Sunday if you would have me.
We will be there, and you are welcome to join us. We'd love to have you.
Okay.
I'll give you $100 right now. So I'll PayPal it to you if you scream at your wife and say, "You're supposed to bring my dinner to me, woman."
Yeah, woman, bring my dinner to me.
Oh, you're going to pay for that one.
She knows I'm joking.
Here she comes.
She knows,
Oh God!
she's like, "F you, asshole."
Did I just hear her racking the shotgun?
No, my wife is so cool, and she would just go, "He's on with Glenn." That's what she would say. She's probably on with Glenn right now.
I'm a fan of Natasha.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
She's an angel.
Oh my God, Glenn's wife. I mean, seriously, she looks younger, Glenn. What the hell is in the water in Dallas?
Well, come drink it, baby. It's good.
It is good. Well, I can't
Carolyn is aging very well.
She is.
I sent a photo. Ken, do you have that photo?
I can show, but he's got to.
I want you to see this before you leave, Craig. I sent back-to-back photos. Oh, the audience is going to enjoy this. I sent him 2 photos. One was taken about 2 years ago. The other was when we were dating at 17 and 16.
Oh, I've seen that picture. Oh my gosh.
Now, how about them apples?
Unbelievable.
That's me at 17.
In the car or something like that too.
Well, yeah, this answers the question, did you ever have hair? And I did, and a lot of it.
Yeah, you had a lot.
And then now go to the modern one, and you'll see Carolyn's like the same beautiful young little gal that I used to date.
She is. Hang on. I'm on.
Thank you for finding that, Ken.
There it is.
So how about that?
Her face, it like glows still.
It does. She's so beautiful.
It's serious. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we've been together for 43 years. We've been married for 41, but you know, I mean, she's been with me through every bend in the river, every poor choice, every great moment, just the whole thing. And I tell you, when you find someone that loves you, warts and all,
yep,
you might not want to overlook the value of that.
And get to dinner before you get killed.
I know.
Hey, Craig, come see us Sunday night. We're on at 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll send you the link, and it's 4:45 is when we meet.
Sounds great. Love
Okay,
you guys. Bye.
Love you, man. Have a good evening. Love to your family.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Look what Pam says. I love that. That's awesome.
Don't take it wrong, but you married up. Can you make Pamela go away right now? Pamela, I love you. You know I'm playing with you.
That's funny.
That is. I get. Hold on. Let me score one back here on the chalkboard for Pamela. That was actually quite cute.
Yeah.
No, we've known each other forever. Now, I'm gonna let the audience in on something. That's when we started dating. But Carolyn and I actually met. Carolyn and I met when I was 7 and she was 6. And we used to play this fabulous game together called Doctor. And that's the truth. I think that's incredible. We have laughed about it so many times. And then I moved away from, I mean, it was harmless. It's harmless. It couldn't be described as sexual in theme. It was exploratory and sheer childish curiosity. And then we moved away to the north side of Dallas, and I didn't see her for 9 years. No contact. And then one night, what does she write about, Carolyn? That Carolyn married up? Probably.
You married up.
Oh, that I married up. Right. Yes. I'm not going to argue with you. But anyway, when I was 17, I got a whisper out of nowhere one night. I remember the night. It was November the 8th, 1976. Thank you for that, James. November the 8th of 1976, I got a whisper that I should call Carolyn.
Wow.
And it had been 9 years. And I knew, I knew who that whisper was referring to. And I went to this thing that many of you remember from your past called a phone book. And I looked up her dad's name. I still remembered his name. And they were still in town here in Dallas and had moved one street over. And, you know, I'm Action Jackson when I get a whisper. Whenever I get a spiritual directive They are all accompanied by the same tingle. I'm not joking. There's a physical tingle throughout my body that is associated with a spiritual directive. Only in this case, it was really more of a mandate, like call Carolyn now, and not audible. It's not like your attention, please, Kmart shoppers. That's not what it was. It was just an internal understanding that for reasons unbeknownst to me, I'm supposed to call Carolyn. Well, I looked up the number. She answered, and the rest is history. We had an amazing conversation that night. And at one point she said, so you still live here in Dallas? I was under the impression that when you left here, you must have gone to California. I said, why would you think that? I'm moving to California in a couple of months. And she said, because I read it in the newspaper article in the Dallas Morning News that you were headed to LA, and I thought that you had already gone there. And anyway, she said, well, if you still live here, we should get together sometime. And I said, the smartest thing I've ever said. I said, the earliest I could do that would be immediately.
Wow.
And I went and got in my car, and probably, I'd say total time frame, because we didn't talk that long on the phone, because we decided instead we were going to do it in person. So from the time I got the impulse until I called her was about 2 minutes. Add another 10 to 15 minutes of conversation. And then I jumped in my 1974 Cherry Red Vega and drove over there. And gentlemen, let me tell you now, if you have a woman who is willing to love your butt when you drive a Vega,
Yep.
that's a keeper right there.
I
And
still got one.
Congratulations, Ken, on your life heading nowhere. That's great. So we wound up spending the whole evening together, and she had grown up to be an incredible young woman. There I am, 17 and 16, and we started dating that night. And 2 years later, we married. So
Wow.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed that I didn't have to go through all of the traditional dating, and I didn't have to sample a lot of ugly along the way. But we have dealt with the trials and tribulations of marrying young, and learning lessons on each other's dime, right? Meaning on each other's schedule, because you can either wait and go do your research about the way life works and then hope that it'll work out where you get together and you marry later on in life. But we chose to go ahead and get married, but now we still have to grow up, and we still have to figure out what matters to us, and who are we, and who are you, and how can I support you and your expansion. And I think one of the reasons we've lasted, a primary reason, and I've said this at many relationship enrichment weekends, is that neither one of us believe that the other one has a better idea of who we are than we do. Meaning, I don't think I know who Carolyn is better than Carolyn knows who Carolyn is. And I also don't think that I, for a minute, know what it is she needs more than she knows what she needs. So my job as a support system, as her husband, is to be by her side, supporting her in her own expansion, her own dreams of being whatever she esteems God to have designed her to be. My job is to support that. My job is not to approve it. My job is to support it. And we've lived that way for a very, very long time. And it's interesting because when you truly feel supported by your partner, I think that you love deeper and deeper over time. And sometimes you drift, and when you come back with a renewed sense of respect and love, and your path is more clearly identified, and things are clarified for you again and again and again and again as you continue to metamorphosize. I think that's the nature of being with someone long term. But if you look for it to be easy, or if you look to jump ship whenever the heat gets turned up in the kitchen, there is such joy associated with pushing through.
Yeah.
I can't say that enough. And I understand not every couple does, and I get that. But if you do decide to buckle down, yeah, there's Carolyn, my dear friend, who she and Jack have been together 52 years. If you decide to push through the challenges, man, when you get on the backside of something that you decided to hold hands and push through, and Ken, I want to tell this because I know you've heard it, and it's super, super short, but Carolyn and I are not known for big drama. We're not known for big, loud fighting.
Right.
We're not known for arguing, and we're not known for raising our voices. Neither one of us raise our voices at each other. And I think it's because I saw enough of that as a kid that I was simply not okay with that in my adult life. And I know that that's a methodology that a lot of people use, but it's not one that's used here in this home. And on one rare occasion, about 30 years ago, we were having an argument that was uncharacteristically loud. And we weren't even used to it. And it was upsetting both of us that we had allowed it to escalate to this point. So this is, I'm 30 years old-ish. And our daughter, Emily, who at that time was 6, walked into the room, didn't say a word. She was crying because she was under the influence of having heard mom and dad get loud. She just had never heard that before. And it was devastating. She walked in like a master relationship specialist, grabbed my hand, grabbed Carolyn's hand, interlocked them, and left the room. Never said a word. She said everything in that silence. But what we heard that she didn't say with her mouth, at least, what we heard is, I love you both. You both love each other. You're my parents. You're what made me. This hurts. Please stop.
Wow.
All of it communicated silently. And we looked at each other, and that was the end of it. You think about it, where are you going to go from there except to look and go, wow. And we lost it and looked over and just thanked God for our daughter, that she had joined us back together when we were drifting. Neither one of us have ever forgotten that. We consider it to be one of the greatest moments in the history of our relationship. But anyway, I'm so grateful that we have people that take time out of their schedule on a Friday night.
Spend 2.5 hours.
I know, Ken.
Susan has a question.
Sure. Can you read it, Ken?
I have a question. I think she meant to put a letter I in there. How do I take responsibility for my husband's mental illness and that he abandoned me homeless, and I am tired of the pain? I want it to end.
You want to take a shot, Ken, and I'll join you in this. I think I personally would like a little more information than that, because I'm not sure. It's not clear if you guys are still live together. Are you? I heard you say abandoned, but
left her homeless.
Okay.
And she wants the pain to end. So, my personal opinion is this. I've been married more than once. I've been married more than twice. I used to drink a lot, so I would look for women that would, try to take care of me. And basically codependent women is what I looked for. And I didn't know. I mean, it wasn't like I had in the back of my mind, I'm going to look for codependent women. It just happened that that's what I would attract. And so after I got sober, I spent a lot of time in and out of various relationships. And what I found was I would always 100% of the time, I would find women that were a project. It wasn't a relationship I was seeking. I was seeking a project because because I was also very, very codependent. And when you're seeking people who are you think that it's love, it's not love. I would encourage anyone to read Scott Peck's book, M. Scott Peck, The Road Less Traveled. He has a wonderful chapter in there. I think it's chapter 7 on love. What is love? It's the best thing I've ever read on what love actually is. But so I would get involved with these projects, and they were typically women with problems, and I was, I wanted to be somebody's hero. And so if I could solve their problems, then, I would have a cape on and I would be looked at as a hero. But at the end of the day, it just was not healthy in any way. And I'm not saying that those things can't work out. There are exceptions to everything, of course, but the majority of the time it's like, man, this is just a bad combination. And there are almost 8 billion people on planet Earth. And here's what I know today. What I know today is I have to take responsibility for me and my happiness. And one thing about, just like you and Carolyn, one thing about me and Jill, I don't have to, I don't question who she is. She is who she is. I'm not saying that we don't butt heads once in a while, because we do, but I'm not like, she knows who she is. I know who I am. We have a great relationship, and it just flows. It just flows. It's not something that requires a ridiculous amount of work for her to try to earn my love or my attention or me. She doesn't need me to tell her how great she is. She knows. And I don't need her to tell me how great. Well, once in a while. I'm kidding. But like, I don't need that anymore. I don't need somebody else to take responsibility for my happiness and my joy and my mental well-being and spiritual well-being. And I don't have the need to do that for her. So for a healthy relationship, in my opinion, you've got to have 2 healthy people. Mm-hmm. And Susan's dropping other comments in here. She's been without him for 6 years. We were together for 33 years.
And John has a comment there, John Chester, which is
good. We cannot take responsibility for other adults. I completely agree with John.
Yes, as do I.
Completely agree. And Susan, I'm not, and this is, I don't want to give advice, but even Jesus said, as he was telling the disciples, to go out and spread the message, he said, you're going to come to villages or towns where the message will not be received. And although you can try and try and try, there does come a point where you have to leave the town and shake the dust from your feet. Meaning, I'm out of here. I'm done with y'all. Good luck. I did my best. If
a man is not without honor save in his own country.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think that I'm not telling Susan what to do, because I don't like giving advice like that. But at some point, I mean, if you were together 33 years, he abandoned you 6 years ago, at some point you got to take responsibility for your life. And in no way, not even 1% of your thought or process in life should ever, after 6 years, not one single thought should cross your mind about, well, what do I do about my husband? It's been 6 years. Move on. Take care of your life. Take responsibility for you and your life.
I think, Ken, it comes down to self-reliance and not making our wellness ever someone else's responsibility, no matter what. And I think the no matter what is the biggest part of it, because even telling someone, but you said, well, first of all, the real truth, if we're to analyze it, they didn't say, previous versions of them said. And, I liken that to a caterpillar that swore it would never fly, and it kept its promise. But then one day it became a butterfly, and now there's a new set of rules, at which point there must be a renegotiation. And I do believe that healthy people renegotiate. I think healthy people renegotiate with themselves. I think healthy people renegotiate with others. You and I will be doing that. We may not do it out loud, but we will be fair with each other over time and say, how is it working for you now as we update and modernize? Right. And I think it's very important to update relationships and say, I know you've been happy, or at least you've led me to believe that. Where are you today? And I don't think there's a certain time frame. I don't think it has to correspond with the changing of the decades. I don't think you need to do it on your anniversary. But I think just being present with one another and saying something as simple as, how are you? And not say it casually, but really, how are you? Are you enjoying your life? Are you enjoying this chapter? How is growing older for you? Are you achieving the things that you want to achieve? Are you happy in your uniquely assigned sack of skin? How can I be of service to you? And then you press the refresh key. Frankly, we do it on computers all the time, and we need to do it in our relationships. And so here's the thing: in a perfect world, it's great if it all goes smoothly. It's great if you have ongoing support from your significant other. But what if you don't? And if you don't, here's the thing: your future cannot be in their hands. Your future must be in your hands. I understand there is inherent challenge with that, but that doesn't change the fact that we are responsible for ourselves today, and we're responsible for ourselves in the future, whether others show up for us or not. Why is that important? Simple. Because they might not. They might not. And if they don't, I don't want my survival to be based on what somebody else outside of me chooses to do or not do. One of the realities is people do leave people. People leave people. People leave people. People change. People do things that can't even be explained, and they can't explain it themselves. Things happen. And we want to make sure that we don't leave it up to somebody else. There's what happens, and then there's our interpretation of what happens. And of the two, rest assured that our interpretation is by far the more important. What happens, I don't want to say it's inconsequential, but it's not enormous. Whereas our response, and this is the very reason we in life need to, if I may, should, on all of us, not on you, not on the audience, but all of us,
right?
We need to make it our responsibility to become masterful processors of life, meaning that we're not seeing things inaccurately, and we're not taking things personally. We have a healthy understanding of events as they unfold, and it may turn out that we don't like what unfolded, but then we look in the mirror and say, now what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Because this has happened.
Yep.
Wayne Dyer used to say this. He said, and I loved this phrase, he said, you shouldn't have done something. I want to say that again. He says, you shouldn't have done something. His argument was always, but you did. But you did. But you shouldn't, but you did. And this is what we've been talking about tonight, about total ownership. Well, it shouldn't have gone that way, but it did. but it shouldn't but it did. And there's something very grounding about always coming back. Well, it shouldn't, the house should not have been destroyed by a tornado, but it was. Well, my marriage shouldn't have ended out of it, but it did. Well, I didn't think that would, but it did. And so we've got to march through the pain into the town of acceptance of what is and what has happened. And our criteria for handling it should have nothing to do with, do we like it? Because there's a really good chance that we're not going to like it. But what are you going to do? Because it's in your precious hands. It's in your hands to decide to process well and move forward. Those are my thoughts. And this is why we're brothers, Ken.
Yeah.
This is why you and I get along so very well, is because we relate very similarly, and the areas, and for those of you who wonder, and I will stay out of details, but Ken and I are certainly not conjoined twins. We do not share the same beliefs in a few key areas. You know what? I respect his right to feel as he does. And vice versa.
Yeah.
Because he understands that I'm not on the same page with him in certain key areas. And he respects my right to feel as I do. That, my friends, that's love.
Yeah.
Because that's what love does. Love does not insist that everybody be like us. Love does not insist that everybody do things our way. And this would include, by the way, your spouse.
I'd like to say, Susan, I love you dearly. Susan we've been friends. She's followed me for years. We've been friends for years, and I've seen her go through a lot of stuff. And when you hear things like this and you feel like, wow, this has really helped me, now you have to go get this book or get my book or something. You have to take, and this is the most empowering thing that I have ever done in my life, and it's the most difficult, and that is to go from being a victim, which I played the victim card for many years in my life. Go from being a victim to taking 100% responsibility for my life. And I mean everything. Like, you have to say enough is enough. There's Christy Jones. I love Christy. She's so amazing.
Yeah, there's a walking batch of love right there, Christy.
She's amazing. When you take 100% responsibility and you say, you know what, I don't have to settle for a mediocre life. I don't have to settle for being in a terrible relationship, whether it's a marriage or not. I don't have to settle for living a life of pain. You know, the Buddhists have a saying that pain in life is inevitable. Suffering is a choice.
Yeah.
Greg, here's my book, Walls of Wisdom, Turning Pain into Profit. It's a short read, but it's my story.
And Susan, you're being given some other outstretched arms, my love. Please feel free to look over the live comments. I know that Pamela Aubrey just reached out to you. And that's the beautiful thing about this particular family, is that people do help one another, and they do have thoughts, and they do have ideas and answers. And if nothing more, they at least can offer you an alternate perspective. And sometimes I think it's about our willingness to disengage a perspective that is no longer serving us. And maybe at one point in time it did. But now we are up for it being replaced with something that serves this version of who we become in our ongoing metamorphosis.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's on Amazon. So thank you for that. I'm selling books here, Glenn.
Well done, my love.
Oh, I look, if I could ship out a book to everybody for free, I would. But you know, honestly, when you make a purchase of a book, you tend to place more value and actually read it. So, you know, I think that,
did you see Tracy's comment, bud? Tracy Swanson about the death of her son?
I need a copy. Oh, this is advice I can take without getting pissed off about how I've handled my son's death, but he's gone. Not that it makes it easier, but it makes me realize somehow I have to accept and deal with my loss.
Right. And this is what Dr. Dyer was talking about when he said, you know, it shouldn't have happened. And while I sympathize, Carolyn and Jack lost their son, right? Very early, just a few years ago, in an accident, in a terrible accident. And there is a period of time where you may go through a long list of how it shouldn't have, but when you're done, it still did. And so until we reach the place of acceptance, and again, that does not mean that you like it. Acceptance doesn't mean liking it. Acceptance means accepting it. And from that place, then you're in a position to move on with what is and what is still available, what can still be from this new place of unexpected change. And so, yeah, I keep going back to becoming masterful handlers of life, because it's one thing to have a rough event occur. It's another thing to have a poor processing of a rough event. Because now, and if I may say, my God rest his soul, my dear brother Brian, who passed away a year ago, my one and only full-blood sibling, unfortunately, things that occurred many, many years ago were never able to be let go of. And what that wound up creating was a profound sense of resentment. And I remember the heavens placed a random stranger in my life when I was about 14. A man that walked up to me, he's probably in his 40s, maybe 50s, and it was down in a beach town in Texas, a little town called Port Aransas. And this man just started talking to me like this, and he said, we had been visiting for a while, and I was always up for good, meaningful conversation. I know some of you may find that hard to believe, but this is not something that mutated later in my life. It's just always been that way. When I was 14, I was talking to 50-year-olds and really welcoming and embracing their perspective on things. And I always wanted to know what somebody's take was on something, how they felt, what they thought this all means, this whole life gig. And he said this to me that day. He said, Glenn, anger and resentment are both poisons that will always do more harm to their container than anything or anyone they can be poured upon. I want to say that one more time. Anger and resentment are both poisons that will always do more harm to their container than anyone or anything they could be poured upon. What he was saying is, if you resent, you are the container of the resentment, and at the end of the day, that resentment will destroy you. Long before it will destroy the person you resent, it will destroy the container first.
Yep.
And sadly, I watched this life lesson play out in my brother's life, and it was really, really hard to witness that, despite best efforts on the parts of those that loved him most, which was every member of my family. And I really think that if someone is carrying a resentment, that resentment needs to be made a priority. And I don't think it should be allowed to linger. I can't encourage anyone enough tonight to say that if you're carrying a resentment of any kind, to please do not underestimate its capacity to erode who you are. Please don't underestimate its heaviness. I address it and let it go.
But I think that, I think that a lot of people will, including myself, I did not realize how resentful I was at, it's like giving a speech on a stage. I've always heard if you're getting up to give a talk and there's not some sort of nervousness that you're feeling, then there's something wrong with you. You should have some sort of butterflyish feelings in your gut. But I think for me, I lived for so long as a raging alcoholic to the point of almost drinking myself to death on many, many different occasions, wrecking motorcycles and cars and just craziness, crazy existence. But I was so convinced, I was angry and resentful at the childhood that I thought I should have received that I did not receive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pissed off about the life that I felt like was stolen from me, that I should have had, that I never had. That I just wanted to numb it all the time. I wanted to numb it. I wanted to be angry. I wanted people to know that if you had the pain. I watched my best friend, I didn't watch it happen, best friend who was also my first cousin I grew up with, was decapitated in an automobile accident on his 18th birthday because he was so inebriated. He hit the back of a parked semi at 85 miles an hour and it decapitated him. And which, again, it was just another reason for me to drink more and more and more and more. And when I heard in a meeting that I attended, 12-step meeting, that having, I had this little old lady named Vivian. We called her Miss Viv. She had been sober longer than God. We used to joke she had been sober for like 40 years or something crazy. She was this little old lady.
I love that you've decided there was a period in his life where God decided to get sober.
God was inebriated. but little Miss Viv used to say in her West Virginia accent, "Honey, having a resentment is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die."
Yeah.
That hurts my throat doing that. But it was like, I was like, what? And I heard it so many times.
I've heard that many times as well, and it's powerful. It's always still true.
If you have a resentment, and it's not necessarily about resenting another person, it can be resenting the life that you feel like has been stolen from you. And it took me a long freaking time, but yet in the same sense, it took me a split second to change. It took me a long time for the realization to occur and just a split second to change. A split second. And so I was pissed off at the life that I felt. And Tracy, I'm not saying I can relate to losing a child. I cannot. And the way that you lost your child, it's horrific. And I love you dearly. But there has to come a point where you got to stop being pissed off at being ripped off and move on, move forward, not forgetting by any stretch, not forgetting, but focus on your life, your creativity, your expansion, your growth, your giving back to the world, your happiness, your joy. Well, if I'm, how do I be happy? You have survivor's guilt. How do I be happy? It's not fair that, the person who passed away is gone and I'm happy. That's not cool. I can't do that. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I believe in Tracy Swanson. I believe in her. She's an amazing lady. And Robin just said it. He would want her to be happy. And I totally agree with that. So many relationships suffered. It's time to drop the suffering. Like I said, pain in life is inevitable. Suffering is optional. It's optional. We get to choose.
May I add something?
Please.
One of the reasons we do what we do is because there's a payoff. There's a payoff. There's something we're getting from it.
Yeah.
And again, I was talking about renegotiation of a relationship. I think we need to renegotiate with our payoffs as well and say, is this still actually paying me off? Or have I now graduated to doing this modality out of habit? Maybe I've been sufficiently paid off, but I've been behaving as if I wasn't. And maybe I really am done with this, but I've developed a pattern of not being done with it, right? I've developed a habit. And but habits can be broken and resentments can be released.
Yeah.
And we're better off in both instances when we do. And it comes down to being willing to do the work. And it's something I've said to my students a lot in recent weeks. It's not about awaiting the mood. Right? We don't wait till we're in the mood. And I give them this exercise because with our TV series, I know not one time on any series has anyone asked me if I was ever in the mood to work. Right? They've never asked that. And one of the greatest things that being an actor has taught me is that we have to go back and find what matches despite our mood. I remember when my father dropped dead of a heart attack, there was no warning. And he was a fairly young man. He was 66 years old. And this was in 2003. And I was doing an episode of Star Trek at the time. And I had the lead in the show.
Wow.
And we were exactly one half of the shoot completed. We had completed the first half of the shoot. And I got home to this dizzying news, as I was very tight with my birth father. I was very tight with my stepfather as well. But my birth dad and I in my adult life went on to be inseparable buds because I got to know him as a man, because he really wasn't around playing the role of father to raise me. He wasn't there. So I went to meet the man who had the title of being my dad from scratch at age 14. I'm meeting him from scratch, like you would meet any random person, and went on to think the world of him. And now he's left. And we went back to Texas, and I spent time next to his body. And then he was cremated, and we released the ashes into the Gulf of Mexico. And I got on a plane upside down with grief, dizzy, overwhelmed, and confused, and returned to Los Angeles. And at 7:00 Monday morning, I was on set, the same set I had been on the previous Wednesday, with a job to do, but I'm living in a world where my dad no longer physically exists. And I've never shot a frame of film minus a parent. My whole life, I've had the security of both my blood parents being alive in the world. But as of today, it's different now. And you don't even know this, Ken, but it's not a story I've shared with a lot of people, but they were playing music that morning on the set of Star Trek because they discovered it's the only set I've ever worked on where they were playing music for the crew to work to in between shots. And I guess they discovered that the playing of music increased the efficiency. People like to work to music. And so the first song, which is what makes this story key, that was played that day on that Monday morning at Universal Studios, the first song was a song from a group called Deep Forest, which almost no one knows of. Almost nobody. I mean, it's not mainstream at all. And it's a song about a butterfly. And I started crying in rehearsal. And the director asked me if I was okay. Everyone knew what loss had occurred. And I said, okay, I'm more than okay. I will be fine. I'm just feeling some stuff. Well, what I was feeling was a divine hand in this matter because that song was my father's favorite song.
Oh, wow.
Which nobody could have known because nobody even knows the friggin' song.
Wow.
And let me take it a step further. It was the only song we played at his funeral.
Wow.
It's the only song. And nobody knew me on this set. Nobody knew my story. Nobody knew my dad. Nobody called Carolyn for inside scoop as to what to play. And I went running to the guy who was choosing the music to play.
Wow.
After rehearsal. And I said, what made you choose that? Why did you choose that song from Deep Forest? And he said, well, I was going to play this one. And he pulled out a different tune, different group. He said, I was going to play this one. And something said, play this.
Jeez.
And then I explained the something. Now, I want to tell you, I would have been less surprised if a lightning bolt had come out of the sky that day and there were no clouds. In other words, no clouds. If lightning had come out of a cloudless sky and struck the ground, I would not have been as moved as I was by the mathematical outrageousness that such a thing could happen.
Wow.
And I could only attribute it to I am being watched over profoundly in this moment as I make this shift. All I know is this much. I know that help is available. I don't think it is. I know that it is. I know that help is available at all times in thin air. What varies is the extent to which we believe in it and or embrace it. And if we embrace it, then I hold the belief that we actually know what to do from here. I actually believe that we do know what our next right step needs to be. And where we botch that up is when we actually utter the words, I don't know what to do. See, I don't believe that. When someone says, I don't know what to do, I actually believe you do know what to do. And you're not interacting with that part of your core understanding that does know what to do. And hopefully that makes sense. I really believe that it is a misnomer to utter the words, I don't know what to do, because I think there is a deeper knowingness that is available to us, Ken, at all times. And our job as human beings, as spiritual beings, is to get real busy tapping into that, because when we do, that's when the miraculous shows up.
Yep.
That's when dreams start coming true. And that's when we stop forcing things and start allowing things. You know, Dr. David Hawkins wrote about power versus force. Some of you have read that book, magnificent book. And he says that you can divide life into two categories. He says that every thought we run and every action we take either contributes to or contaminates life. I want to say that again, that every thought we run and every action we take either contributes to or contaminates life. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yep.
The idea of looking, and if you're starting to wonder, does this belong in my life? Does this habit belong in my life? Does this choice belong in my life? Does this relationship belong in my life? The answer is, does it contribute or does it contaminate? And we have to be willing to be brutally honest, and we do not need to show our list to anybody, but to take time to make a personal list that, and I know, Ken, in the 12-step program, one of my favorite phrases they use a lot is they talk about rigorous honesty. So we have to be rigorously honest. But if we're rigorously honest and we're willing to own our own behavior, then we can identify a behavioral choice, something we do, and we've been doing it for a long time, and realize, the truth is that contaminates my life. And then it becomes up to us to stop it, or at least quit complaining about it, because if we know it contaminates and we do it anyway, that means we're essentially saying, I'm okay with the ugly consequence that this behavioral choice produces. So the goal is to become better at adding more contributions to our lives and systematically reducing the list of contaminants. Like one at a time. Now, it'll work. It'll improve your life if you just one at a time. Like if you remove one a month even.
Yeah.
If you take one habit a month that does not enhance your life and you remove it, I will guarantee you unequivocally that your life will get better. However, I will tell you that you can fast track wellness and get exponentially better by using this approach, which is that when you remove a contaminant, don't just remove it, but rather replace it with something that is its opposite.
Yes.
Meaning we slide a contaminant out of there and we replace it with a contribution. So
that's why
I was on a roll, baby. I'm sorry. I'm really into this zone tonight.
Go ahead, go.
Now, all I was going to say is, let's say, for example, that you've decided that eating Butterfingers is a great career choice. Now, I'm saying that sarcastically. But what if you just basically eat real poorly all the time? I'm talking real poorly, like just garbage. And if instead of that daily Butterfinger or daily ding dong diet, whatever it is, but something you're doing a lot of, and you replace it with the consumption of, and you name the healthy replacement, maybe, how about this? You slide out a Butterfinger, you slide in a peach. You slide out Milk Duds and you slide in broccoli. Now, I don't know. Some of you may not get as excited about the taste of broccoli as you do about a peach, but I'm promising you, early on, we don't want to use your opinion about it as our criteria as to whether or not this is a successful way to live. The reality is you're in a reacclimation phase anyway. So initially, the body's going to be kind of going, I don't know what's going on here, but you seem to be treating me with greater respect. And by the way, thank you. And after a while, you acclimate and you start getting used to taking better care of your body. And this is not just a bodily thing. We start taking better care of our finances. We start taking better care of our relationships because we look at poor choices we've made in the past and we slide those out of there. And instead of that thing which didn't work for our relationship, we replace it with making them breakfast in bed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an example. Get rid of the toxifying choices and replace them with the contributions. This is how you literally can transform an ineffective life, which has you frowning, to an effective life, which has you smiling.
But if I may interject.
Yes, please.
I think along this journey, though, of making significant changes, most of us forget, don't recognize, aren't aware of, whatever the words are, that there is a gestation period. When you have a diet of Butterfingers, for using your example, and you decide tomorrow, I'm no longer going to
go with the Butterfinger diet.
I'm going to use peaches and broccoli and maybe some muskmelon in there along the way, or cantaloupe or whatever you call it. You know, I'm going to switch and I'm going to be healthy now. Well, the body is going to appreciate it, but parts of it are also going to object.
Throw it off for a while. Yeah, I know.
You're gonna have a headache for a while because your body's coming down off of sugar. You're going to have, you know, you're going to purge.
You're talking about reacclimation.
You are.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, it's just like in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I saw a lot of people, including myself, that they wanted to come in. Yes. Okay, fine. I'm an alcoholic. Now what? Let's move on. I've done step 1. Now I want to go help people. And that's step 12. And they're in numerical order for a reason. You know, you do all of them. And if you skip any of them, well, you could stand to be injured very, very, very badly along the way. So, you know, but yet the most important step of all of them is the 12th step, which is where we start going out and helping other people. Right. And we're giving back what's been given to us. And it's the same thing with when you've made other changes in life. You have to take all of the gifts that you've been given, because they are spiritual gifts that you finally surrendered to and accepted into your life and your existence. And you pull these things in, you make them part of who you are. And now who you are becomes a light for the rest of the world. That doesn't mean that you know, all of a sudden you've changed, and now, like, you don't go out on day 1 and start going, hey, guess what? I'm no longer a Butterfinger addict. I'm a broccoli guy now. You don't
broccoli
go
and peaches. Don't forget the peaches.
Yeah, and peaches, a little bit of cantaloupe in there. But, like, you know, you don't go out. There is a gestation period. It's a process. It's not an event. And I think that most people forget, or they don't recognize that the event isn't going to happen. You're not going to wake up in tomorrow or 2 days or 5 days from now and go, wow, I've had a significant event occur. It is a process. I can tell you that the first 5 years of sobriety for me, and I'm coming up on 18 years of sobriety.
Touche, brother. Touche.
The first 5 years, man, were, oh my God. At first everybody's like, dude, just all you got to do is get through the first 30, 60 days, right? And I was like, okay. And so I got through it, and I'm like, this shit sucks. This still sucks really bad, you know? But I had moments of euphoria where I was like, oh, this is great, and everything's rainbows and unicorns.
So why did you persevere?
Because for me, this is me personally. I had enough, man. I had enough.
You were done.
I had had enough. I had enough pain, and how do you handle Butterfingers in your family? You know, life. Here's the thing, man. And Glenn, you tell me if I'm wrong, but when you're living, you know, one of the things you told me when I first met you, I mean, I was a little bit starstruck. Okay, I was a lot starstruck.
That period has ended.
I'm still starstruck, dude. When I watch The Resident and I see you come on, I'm like, holy shit, I just hung up. I literally looked at Jill. I go, I just hung up the phone with him. And he's
only now you have a new one. You go, that's the guy just flew to Nashville to see me.
I know, right? Yeah, right. But like I say, what was I saying?
You were talking about how difficult that period is, the first 5 years. And
yeah. And you know,
I ask you, why did you persevere?
I had to.
Right.
I had tried every other way of drinking like a normal human being, and I just wanted to be better. And I remember, I had somebody ask me in my first 60 days sober, dude, what is it that you want out of life? What do you want out of sobriety? Like, if you could give God a list of things that you want, what would you want that to be? And I said, and I'm 34 years old at the time. And I said, I want my own family. I want a family with kids, but I don't think I can have kids because I sure have tried an awful lot. That's supposed to be a joke.
I understood what you meant.
I'm pretty sure I'm sterile.
Despite your best efforts to have children,
Yeah.
you didn't have any.
Yeah. And I wasn't even necessarily trying. But anyway, I said, I want my own children. I want a family. And in the background while you were talking, I've received some messages from my ex about my daughter and my oldest daughter. And I can't announce what it is because she can get in trouble at school, but she accomplished something amazing tonight. She got the most amazing news. It's made her life. And we went on vacation, and both of my daughters brought a friend. They each got to bring a friend, and my 14-year-old daughter, her friend who's 14, said, we were talking about drinking and alcoholism and stuff, and she said, so Kenna and Jill, your wife, and Abigail, none of them have ever seen you drink? And I go, no, not a drop. She's like, wow. And I thought about that, and I'm like, and I've thought about it many times. Like, I have never had, my daughters and my wife have never seen me in that state, in that place. Like, I've never had a drink around them.
Yeah, they don't know that version of you because you've never been that version of you in their midst.
That caterpillar is gone, man.
Yeah, they met the butterfly. They didn't meet the caterpillar.
Yeah. It's freaking amazing to me. So just remember that, I'm at 18 years sober almost. And the most significant event of my life was when I was 34. And I did finally decide that I'd had enough.
Did you see what Robert just put up there about our meeting each other?
That
is beautiful.
Heartwarming. Getting on that plane. I know. Wow.
Yeah, it's so true.
Wow. Involuntarily smiling. That's amazing, dude. So, man, I just think that people need to realize that there is a gestation period when you make the decision that you're going to change. And here's the thing. You are going to change, period. Whether you decide to or not, you're going to change. And your life is going to change. It's going to abruptly come to an end someday. And one of the most beautiful things that I have ever heard, and it was a guy, Todd, I've had so many people on my show. I think it's Todd McKay Hill, maybe. Anyway, I've got his book here somewhere. He said something to the effect of, when I die and I get to heaven and I meet God or wherever we go, I believe that God's going to have 2 television screens. He's going to have one movie of my life playing on one of them the way he had hoped that it would be. And the other one is going to be my actual Cahill. Thank you, Pam. The other one's going to be my actual life and how I live. I want those 2 things to match up.
Yes. I don't know if you know this. I wrote a chapter about this very thing called the gap, which is I figured out years ago that a human being's joy quotient or their level of happiness in their life was determined by the size of the gap. And what the gap referenced was the gap between the life they dreamed of relative to the life they were actually living.
Yeah.
And that when there is a wide gap there, there is misery.
Yep.
And as you begin to tighten that gap, which is able to be tightened, so we'll invent the word tightenable. It is tightenable to the point where it's directly aligned.
Yeah.
I don't even believe that's a dreamy reality. I believe that's an entirely havable reality where you align your dream life with your life as it is. And you realize I don't want to keep thinking that life happens down the road.
Right.
But by tightening the gap, I'm here right now. Hey, guess what? Chad just showed up and I get to explain something to Chad.
Look.
I want to explain something. Yes.
I literally was looking for that other book, and as I was lifting up books over here, I saw this one, and then he commented.
Right. So the idea is that if you have a life you dream of, then why aren't you already underway with living that life? So the gap is able to be tightened. And here's the promise I want to make everyone in advance. A couple of quick things, if I may, Ken. One of them is it is
for a minute. I will be right back.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
For a minute.
I can handle it. So when you choose to tighten the gap, where you say, I'm done waiting for this dream life to show up, and I am now cultivating a blueprint, and the action that follows the blueprint is to go on a dig, not to build skyward, but rather to go downward and dig deep, because I know that with the high rise of my life that I envision, it's going to rely upon a really sturdy foundation. So I want to start by going down, not up. And when I get the firm foundation there, then I will systematically do the work and lay down the beam and bring in the pop rivets and nail in the nails and put in the glass and do everything that is part of constructing the high rise that I dream of. But I do believe that that is a havable life and that I can die having had it. I've often talked about the conversation with the death day self, another chapter, that I've always had this vision that on the final day of my visit here to the earth, that I would be able to look upon my life in its entirety and realize that that is exactly the life I came here to live. And that the only opinion that really mattered to me was the opinion of my Creator, who would look upon his red-headed son and say, well done. That's what I had in mind for you. And that's the source I care about bringing pleasure to. I believe that our lives are our gift and how we live them is our thank you. I believe that profoundly. There's something, so Chad, there's something I want to say to you, brother. I was speaking about you a few hours ago before we got online. Ken and I probably had an hour chat on our own. I mean, that's all we do is we talk, and then in the middle of one of our talks, we go, you want to just take it online? And we roll the conversation into an online visit. But I brought you up, and I told him that you and I had spoken via text that I was going to go to Nashville on Thursday, and then I wound up canceling my trip, which I did. And I postponed it by a full 24 hours, which now shortened my time there. And I was specifically flying there to see Ken. And I will be back, but I wanted to let you know that I had told you exactly what had happened, because that's the way I am. I mean, I'm very transparent and so forth. But Thursday that week was really the only day that I was going to be able to get in a visit with you. And you shared with me that that was your anniversary that day. And so it wasn't a good day for you to connect with someone else. And that's just kind of the way it went. But I wanted you to know that I really did not come to Nashville at that time. I wound up coming the following day and then immediately went into overdrive to coordinate this big surprise for Ken. And then right after I saw him the very next morning, I got up and flew back to Dallas. It was a marvelous time. But I am in Nashville often, so the next time I'm there, we will rendezvous. And I even made it out to your area, to Lebanon. I saw where Lebanon was. So Ken, I wanted to just make this observation about something.
Wearing this shirt when you saw me.
What? Oh, yes, you were wearing that last Saturday night. That's true. That's what you were wearing during our photo. You mentioned, and don't bust this because I think I shared this with you, but I want to share it with our audience. When I was talking about broccoli and peaches, you mentioned cantaloupe. You just randomly mentioned that, and it brought up a memory of mine that I had a dog years ago who craved cantaloupe. Turns out he was a melancholy.
Hey, listen, man. That was funny. So hey,
that's one of my fun ones.
I have to go. I didn't know my wife
okay.
was out here waiting on me.
Oh, well, why didn't she just come in and go, come on, dude, let's go?
Because that's not how she rolls.
Well, we've only been going for 3 hours and 25 minutes exactly. So I think that's plenty of time.
Dude, I love you, man.
I love you back. Let's wrap up the show. I explained to Chad what had happened and that I did, in fact, cancel my trip and waited and came 24 hours later. So he knows that we'll rendezvous. We'll go to a Starbucks and sit and chat and catch up. Pamela, thank you for your insights tonight. Thank you for your love and your support of other people who are dealing with challenges. You are a sweetheart. Greg Parton, thank you, brother. Chad, thanks for chiming in. We got to have you join us. I don't know how long you've been with us, but Cindy, thank you for your wide open heart. And oh my God, let's go back. Robert, you're just amazing, brother. And Charles Coachman, right? Charles always there with us.
He's amazing.
We got a lot of regulars. I love it. And John Chester had several things to say tonight. Tracy, I hope that you felt only, how about not only this? I hope you felt only loved and supported instead of loved plus anything else. I just hope that it was love and Susan, just love and support tonight. Any of you that aired out your concerns, your feelings, your vulnerabilities, thank you for trusting this program with that. This is why Ken and I do this show.
To help us.
And we love you guys. All right, Ken. Hey, brother, I'll see you Sunday evening. You want to give a quick plug for our Sunday evening show?
Yes, join us Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, for the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. Should I take us out with our
Yes, please do.
Let's do it.
God bless you guys. Have a great weekend.
You guys have an awesome weekend. Take control of your destiny. Take control of your life and make it amazing. It's on you. You got this.